Hey,
What up? We back.
What up? What up?
we
What
are
up?
Hello.
back. It's a full house again.
I know. It's like
Just
this
how
whole
it's supposed
family's
to
back
be.
together.
Yeah, the last couple weeks I had extreme technical difficulties last week. Seindole couldn't make it, and then the week before I couldn't make it. So, good thing we have an extensive family. So Krista B was able to join in. Hi, Krista B. So before we start anything, we are all gonna send my partner in crime, Krista B, some love. She is in Jamaica for a wedding.
Shaba.
Mhm.
And we love you and we
Bo,
miss
bo, bo,
you.
bo,
Here
bo.
at Karsha. So we're like all, mentally with Krista right now, I think, on the beach.
Mhm.
I know I
Because
am.
it's been a long week. And when I feel that way, I'm just like, you know what? I'm hanging out with Krista B's. Like, I'm fine. Everything's gonna be great.
There you go.
I'm excited.
It's
So
like a Keith in the
Hopefully, Krista
chat,
is
Dylan in
somewhere
the chat.
relaxing with some rum punch in her hand. If not,
No,
then
she's
she
in this.
needs to be
She
rum
has a
punch.
ASAP.
coconut. She has a coconut in her
She
hand.
does have a
Remember?
coconut. She loves
If
a
you look at her
coconut.
stories, I'd be
Yeah, we
remembering.
were just talking about this, booking a trip, Krista B, because we were like, SummerSlam's next week, but we need to figure out how we're all at everything, at least the big fours. So we need to figure that out. We need to be booking trips. We need to get flued out. Y'all know the vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, y'all know the
Hey,
vibes.
man. If I got to
Salute
bust it
out.
open on
Love it.
OnlyFans, whatever it takes for the team.
Ha! Busting it open on
Wow.
OnlyFans. I
Dude,
mean, that's
dude.
dedication
I
right there.
mean, where the money resides, shoot.
Where the money reside, where the money reside.
I mean, it is what it
Take it
is.
Wallace.
Is that a thank you Trish shirt, Brian?
You know it. You know what I did this
You
morning.
buy yours?
Give
I'm mad. Mine
yourself
is not
the
here. I'm hope.
applause sound effect because you deserve
I ordered it too.
that.
I'm praying. I'm like crossing fingers it gets here before a week from today because I'd like dead ass want to roll in there with. I
I mean, it's
I
only
dead
right.
ass need that shirt.
No, I
Yeah, this
love
my
it. I
I
first
don't
actually
need
have
I
it
don't
on the
need a
way too. I
shirt
have to get
because
it.
I have an actual autographed picture from Trish hanging above my office setup over here,
nice.
like in front of me, where she
Ooh,
actually like, hey Justin, da da da, and signed it.
Nice.
I'm jelly.
That sounds
I would
litty.
love to be in the presence. Love you too, Krista B, of the legend that is Trish Stratus, who I still am mind blown that we see weekly.
Me
She is a
too.
part of the storylines. It's not like, oh my God, do you think Trish is going to be here? Like, it's guaranteed that she's going to be here. And I think she's performing at the top of her game. I think she's a good heel because people are really not fucking with her. And I'm like, oh, she doing the right thing.
Hey, they
We
just
love
didn't do
her.
what they supposed to do. You're supposed to thank Trish every morning,
I
and
mean,
when
I
you do,
do.
your day goes well. After you thank the good Lord, you thank Trish Stratus. I mean, how hard is that?
It's not hard at all. It's not hard at all. So hashtag thank you, Trish. I hope my shirt comes to Seindole because I want to be in Detroit, repping my girl. I love you, Becky, but we here for Trish
Now
Stratus.
Becky can. She's the enemy now. It's all about Trish Stratus. Becky's where she was at SummerSlam 21. She's the enemy.
We ain't saying all that now. Calm down.
I am.
We just saying that we
Wait, wait, wait,
thanking
I,
wait.
Trish.
can I
Let
Okay.
him
kayfabe?
finish. Let him finish.
I'm a
That's
kayfabe. Becky can go sit down, and I'm all
Ooh.
about thanking Trish. That's who I want to see.
the
So,
thoughts and opinions of Brian H. Waters do not reflect all those of the PWG fan club.
and,
Each member of the
What's
and if
family
you
is
got
Seindole
something to
saying?
say, tweet me at Relive Via Film.
So instead
Yo,
of whoa, you're like go,
See, this is what happens when
go.
I'm not here for one day. People get brass, but it's okay. It's all
Wow.
right. It's all
he
right.
got one more
He
strike,
got one
Seindole,
more.
and then I will gladly kick him out the
Listen,
club if I need to.
But
my
I thanked
doctor
Trish this
said,
morning.
"Don't let people stress out." So I'm gonna let that one rock. Okay,
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna let
what
it
you
rock.
stressed
I'm gonna
out
let it
because
rock.
you seen your man's get handed to him by Ricky Starks.
We are
Looked in
going
his
there.
Not
eyes.
Okay.
What
even.
did she
You know what though?
see?
Both of you, not even you can ruin that for me because guess what? Guess what?
What?
Guess freaking what?
What?
I saw him getting in his car right after the show. So then you can
Dope.
take it from me. So we're one
Oh
step
my
closer. The way
God.
that Patricia was one step closer to meeting Biggie until she met Biggie, I'm one step closer taking a picture with CM Punk.
We
So I'm
gotta
gonna
make
ignore
that happen
you and I'm
for
gonna
you.
ignore you and I'm gonna just I'm gonna pull a Justin and manifesting,
I want it to happen.
manifesting,
I do. I want it to
manifesting.
I
happen.
want everyone to meet their faves. I really do. Like it is. It's just. It's. I
Even
can't
me?
explain it. Yes, even you.
Even Brian even Brian
Mhm.
Hollywood Water needs to be
Even
somebody
your,
Hollywood, so
your,
it's
you know,
okay.
we don't speak of him on the show, but he
The
is.
way I was trying to keep composure when I met Sasha in Dallas, woo child. I don't know how the hell I kept that together.
Yo,
I
kudos to
can't. I
you.
Her
can't.
and Beyonce, they fuddled.
Wait,
I
you've
was
met
like,
You
Beyonce
met
before?
Beyonce?
mhm.
Okay,
Wait,
I'm
you supposed to
We've
meet
been
offended
calling
her.
the
because
wrong
that's
person
not the
Hollywood the whole
first
time.
thing you told me when we met was that you met Beyonce.
So we've been calling the wrong person Hollywood the entire time, Justin. When were you gonna let
Exactly.
us know this information?
I'll tell
Yep.
it off camera, but I met
Okay.
Okay.
her and Hove
Okay.
before.
Oh, you will tell us off camera.
Wow, Dylan. Wow.
See, I was like being so. I've been so nice lately, like about Brother Hugh and
They've
whatever.
been getting. Oh.
But I do want everyone to meet their heroes.
Mhm.
Like it's amazing. Oh, Andre want the tea. We gonna catch up in New York at
We're
some
gonna have
point,
to.
and
That's
we'll
gonna have to be
definitely
like a
fill you
Patreon
in.
exclusive, like
We'll
when we
definitely
met
fill
our
you
favorite
in.
celebrities or something.
Right. So there's this
Hopefully, yeah.
like running gag with me and Andre because I literally run into him at every wrestling function I go to in New York. I swear to God, he's there. It's not even planned. He was at the Big Time show, I think, with
He was
us.
at the big time show with us. Like
Yep.
we cordially made sure
Legend.
he sat with us. He's always a legends.
Yep.
Like
And he's the best.
he's the best.
And that's what I love like about Jobber Tears though, and like we talked about it, we were at BlurCon. Shout out to Doc who just shared some never before seen photos, selfies that I didn't even see from BlurCon. Is how they build community. And they're having a after party in Detroit after SummerSlam. So it just showed you the range that they have and just like how much they're able to like cultivate this, community of wrestling fans. So I'm really excited about that after party. Of course, they're hosting a watch party at Legends in Midtown, in New York City. I think everyone except Brian has been to a watch party, and it's pretty much like an amazing
No,
time
Brian,
every
you
time.
haven't been to a watch party with us.
Facts.
He went
We'll
to our
change it.
event, but not a watch party. But
Mhm.
it's amazing what Jobber Tears is doing for the community, and we are always here to support them. This is a Jobber Tears enthusiast podcast. Krista B and I mention them at least once every episode. But we were able to actually have Janelle on the show. Janelle from HR. She is the moderator and 1/3 of the Jobber Tears podcast host. She's also a part owner of Battle Club Pro Wrestling promotion that's based here in Brooklyn, New York. Jobber Tears and Battle Club Pro collaborate every year for a wrestling show called Jobber Slam, and this will be the third one. And it's one of those shows where it was supposed to be something, but then the pandemic happened and it ended up being something else, and that something else ended up being like the dopest shit ever.
Oh, yeah.
And Seindole and I went to the first Jobber Slam. We electric slided with Faye Jackson and Big Swole and Tasha Steeles. Like it was epic. Last year Jobber Slam, we were all there as well. And now here we are, the third one. I
So
couldn't be more proud.
to put it in retrospect, like it is literally like a family reunion. Like the second one
1000%.
was so big that it even had like I believe they had people all the way from as far as Texas. So like it's a big deal. Like you have people from the West Coast. And shout out to Banks because that's the first time I ever met Banks, and that's my boy. Me and him are like this now. Is like I got to meet everybody. It was the first time I really got to hang out with all of Black Wrestling podcasts, and it was just like it's like a big family reunion. Like Brian, I know you've been there. Justin, you better get your ass here. It's just that much of a good time. It's worth the go.
It really is. It really is.
And
Next year.
Janelle and Battle Club Pro put so much like work into it that it's like you think you know what's happening, but you don't know what's happening, and that's what makes it one of the best things to attend. here in New York on the East Coast. And I can't wait to see how much farther it goes.
Agreed. And like I said before, Krista B was able to interview Janelle this a couple weeks ago, live on Twitch about the event and just where Jobber Tears is going. And it's a really good interview. And I love these things because Janelle is obviously a family and friend of the podcast. But when you are in the position of an interview or wanting them to share the great things that they're doing, even friends, you learn more about them in those situations and you kind of grow a greater appreciation because it's just like, wow, like you really, do a lot and it takes a lot to put on these events. And that's why Jobber Slam is such a fun thing. And the other part I like about it is that you kind of see the evolution of some of our favorite people, Mr. Black, for example. Like the first Jobber Slam, he was in the crowd hyping everything up. The second Jobber Slam, he's reffing and makes a heel turn. And now this year, he's mixing it up with Wilkins, who wrestled his first match last year. It was supposed to be his last, but that's how you know he's an actual wrestler because he retired. And now he's having a match. We had, and it's international, what's his name? Baldy.
Simon
Miller.
Yes, and I love him. He's a sweetheart. I'm sorry. Me with names, but he is such a sweetheart. And his voice, it's wild because I saw him at Wally Mania. What Culture was one of the first YouTube channels that I discovered when I got back into wrestling, like almost 10 years ago now, actually. And so his voice for me, when I hear him, like when he's talking to me, I'm just like, I can't believe, like, he's here and just how he's championed Wilkins and, the Jobber Slam and Battle Club Pro has been so dope. So please, if you are in the New York area, it is happening on Saturday. Jobber Slam. We got some surprises. We don't know who Simon Miller is going to tag with to face Wilkins and Encore.
Yeah,
so, we love a surprise.
Is that the 19,000 time world champion Vacant that's going to be Simon Miller's partner?
I mean, listen, Vacant's he hasn't been in the ring for a very long time. We might finally see him again. Just saying.
Look.
Facts.
And it could be really anybody.
No, I'm hype.
Hello, am I frozen?
Am I frozen?
I think she is.
It's P that's frozen. All right, so
just to continue, just if it's not that match you're gonna be excited about, I mean the card itself is so amazing. Like they have, I'm more excited about. She's back. All right, our queen's back, and the queen of all is back in. I was speaking about all the other talent that's gonna be there. Like I'm excited about Keith Bounty, personally.
Same.
Been a fan of his lately. Been watching his stuff. I'm excited about that. You have him going up against Steve Pena, which I'm like. Remember, me and P were there when he won his championship at the Jobbers at the last Battle Club show. Too excited, too impressed with what Steve Pena has been doing. I can't wait to see this title defense. He's up to his game. There's Battle Royal. You always, and the one thing I also really look forward to is Darius Carter, because he also been grabbing my attention.
Fans of Darius
Love
Carter.
his Brass Ring Invitational. I'm too excited to see who is going to step up to the challenge. And like Andre said, people be on 1,000. People were whipping out freaking cucumbers from chairs. They had a sweatpants battle royal last year. The sweatpants battle royal was lit. Like I'm telling you, this is not your average indie local wrestling show. This is one of the best.
For the sweatpants battle royal, I had the best seat in the house because I'm sitting next to Queen PR and front row, all the way from Texas. I mean, excuse me, Alabama, the one and only Miss Stephanie Hardy.
Oh my God, that was such a treat.
And the people coming out. The people coming out. Shout out to Nick Shin, who just got married, by the way.
Congratulations, Nick. He's my second favorite referee. My third favorite.
He came outside. I was like, "Your girlfriend know you doing all this?" And he was like, "Listen, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Mhm.
You had Wilkins coming out in sweats. You had people that you didn't think were supposed to be in this battle royal coming outside. All in all, great fun. It's a great time. It's in a great location. It's an easy location. So if you do live in New York, New Jersey, even the Connecticut area, I hope to see you there because the tickets are going to be on sale until they aren't on sale no more.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Support,
definitely a
support,
vibe.
support, support. Havon, yes, Jabber Slam 3 going down on Saturday.
Let's give Nate a shout out too. Nate from Storyline
Oh,
Tees.
absolutely.
Putting on, for the
Yes.
culture. He got a Jobber Slam shirt that just dropped. Yeah, the
Ooh.
Yes.
Jobber City
The Jobber City
shirt that
shirt.
just dropped. Yeah, Jay Bougie shirt, Backstage Brawl shirt. So shout out to Backstage Brawl. I actually found out about their podcast through this platform when they were on a Thirsty Thursday. So that's another thing I love
That
about
was a
Thirsty
fun
Thursday.
one.
Yeah, that one and Ringside Club, it's like you talk about community and P, I know you brought up the Jobber tiers, but you also have to give yourselves a lot of credit too, because that's how a lot of people getting discovered. Look at the good
Yes.
people rest things over in UK. A lot of people on this side of the pond got discovered by
Facts.
them because of that. So Thirsty Thursday is always a vibe, but the best thing about all of this is that we're bringing our people together that love wrestling, and it's
Real
beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm so proud of it. And I love bringing new people into it. There's girls that I met, like beautiful black women that I met last Jobber Slam, who
Mhm.
I see they're at the shows before me now at Battle Club Pro. Like I'm like, oh, okay, they've gone to more shows than I have even been to in the last year since that show. So I have to always just give props for that. And also it's a fun wrestling show outside. Like I don't think, it really gets any better than that. And some of our favorite people are involved. So I'm very excited for that. So let's switch gears and get into SummerSlam because next week
Oh my God. It's going to be a
it's the
I am
party of the
movie.
summer.
excited.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm like the goosebumps just
I'm
finally arose.
Ooh.
And other desert regions started to arose as well because I'm too excited. That's how excited I am.
Yeah,
my
Y'all get what y'all know
favorite
what I
pay per
mean. Like
view of the
this
calendar year for
card,
WWE.
really.
Mm.
really.
Yes, I mean, obviously, I've said this on multiple fan club episodes. My first show I've ever gone to was SummerSlam '91 in Madison Square Garden, and also SummerSlam has
Nice.
always been like the WrestleMania for like the smarks or like the ones that love the in ring wrestling. Like WrestleMania, you get the pageantry.
Mm.
SummerSlam, you get the matches. There's like a lot of banging 4.5, 5-star matches that happen in SummerSlam, whereas Mania has always been kind of hit or miss because they treat that as a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's special for me this year too because it will mark a full year that I've been blessed enough to go to every big four back to back to back to back. Well, I guess Dallas and then SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, Mania, and now again another SummerSlam. And it just reminds me of just how much can happen in a year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Offline
You're
before we
almost two
started
for two.
recording, right? We were talking about how we're gonna plan to be everywhere, and who knows where we'll be in a year where we even have to worry about a lot of the things that we're worrying about now. So it's very exciting, and I just want to take a second and thank everyone that supported this show, our Twitch, our team, TWG, Krista B, myself. Her getting new opportunities writing for Wrestling Inc. If you haven't checked out her articles, go. We posted it all over our socials, so go check out her author page. Give her some clicks. She's a great writer, but it's just amazing like what we've been able to do.
Facts.
And next week in Detroit, it will be another first. So this will be the first time that Seindole will be traveling to go see a pay-per-view somewhere else.
Yo, I had to geek on it because there are people that are no longer in my stratosphere, a specific person. I had to like think about it today. Like it's funny, the
Mm.
shout outs to my brother. Cause me and him were having one of our real good in-depth conversations about how like he just finished a big certification for tech that's gonna take him
Hold
places
Oh
on.
beyond
my
compare.
god,
And then
congratulations,
this is happening and the whole if anybody doesn't know, I am officially an Amazon affiliate. I have a storefront. I have wrestling stuff on
Hey.
my storefront. Like all these things were happening to us, and we were like, you know what? Not fucking bad for two people who just needed space to grow. And I'm like, you know what? You're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely goddamn right.
That is the shit
So
I
shout
live
out to
for,
anybody who thought
Seindole.
that doing this podcast wasn't gonna take me nowhere. You know what? Thank you too, because now that you think this not taking me nowhere, it's actually taking me on a flight to Detroit. Thank you so much. And I'm very humble.
Hey.
And I always have to tip my hat and thank P and Krista, because you don't understand. Like last Thursdays, I show you what our group chat is like, but it's so much more than just cackling and giggling and talking about crazy parts and all that stuff.
Nicole.
It's a whole bunch of motivation among all of us. And like, yo, if I had the friends, I put out the tweet, I was like, if I had friends like this 5 years ago, like,
It be
I'm
No.
not
like
gonna
that.
cry. I'm not
I'd
gonna
have this
cry.
grace.
But I'm very, 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 very blessed to be in the presence of people who finally get it. Yes. And I got to see Buddy Murphy kick down. We're
Oh
gonna get into that a little
shit.
later. I'm gonna leave that for the
I
end
watched
of
a
I'm
video.
gonna leave that for the end.
Okay, okay.
Because AEW was crazy, but
I
I'm gonna
saw
leave it
that
for the
on
end.
socials and was just like,
Wow.
oh, he pays
All right.
attention.
I cannot
Y'all, if y'all follow
honestly
me on
wait
my
to get into
stories,
that.
you'll see how it went down. Like homeboy
Y'all gotta leave
was
that man
ready.
alone.
That he was done.
That
I could tell my man's is done. I was like, oh no. I said, I hope he don't talk about
Yeah.
that. But then you see him, the way he slid out the ring, like his name was freaking Dragon Lee, and then he was able to slide out the ring and then deliver with the right foot. I said, this man is underestimated. How the hell you go from
always.
straight
He
to a
was too
kick?
smooth with it
He
though.
was smooth.
All
It was
right. I need to
we're
see
gonna
this
get into it
footage
later.
at some
I mean,
point
people
because
We're gonna get
forget
into
he's
it
a
later.
former cruiserweight champion. Like, dude's light
This
on
is
his feet for a
true.
reason.
This is true. And
facts.
I've
I
also
actually
seen him at
enjoyed him in
HO3.
WWE. I was surprised they didn't capitalize more on him and then he got released.
He's fast on his feet, but let me tell you, he was done.
Mm.
If that didn't prove he was done, he was done.
Oh, I've seen him up close. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that to your face.
Oof.
I respect my jaw.
So I'm excited about today's show because it's all about a lot of things that I love, which is TV, TV series, and wrestling shows about like fictional worlds about the world of wrestling. So we're gonna talk about Heels, which season 2 premieres this Friday, which is crazy. And we'll get all into the new season. We'll talk about the first season, was it underrated, why people should watch it, some of our favorite characters. But I also want to get into other TV shows that depict that. So we got Young Rock that does a fun way of telling the stories of even the territories and the Rock's rise, but through this like kind of sitcom setting, which was really
Mm-hmm.
cool. We'll talk about Glow, which I personally loved.
Love
We'll
Glow.
definitely be doing a separate fan club, a Glow Appreciation fan club, because that show was amazing, and I think we were waiting for either the third or fourth season, and the pandemic canceled it, and we didn't get that next season. And it's one of those shows when those tweets go viral, like, what's a show that got canceled that shouldn't have, or something. And it's Glow is always the one that trends because it was awesome. And Taya Valkyrie was filming to be in the new season as well. So it has a lot of connections to current wrestling. It was all about women's wrestling, so I loved it. Hills comes on Stars. I don't know what the Australian life is like with Stars Network, but it's a really good show. It's about a wrestling family and two sons of a wrestler and a wrestler promoter in a small town in Georgia. They want to continue his legacy and continue this promotion. It's in a small town, and it just shows the layers of what it takes to run a family business, those dynamics, the dynamics of the independent wrestling scene, the dynamics of living in a small town, women's wrestling, the different types of wrestling, extreme versus technical, storytelling versus, 5-star matches. So it's a lot. So we're excited to talk about it. We'll talk about all those other shows. And then after that, we'll give some love to what's going on right now in wrestling that we love. So tonight is going to be a really good fan club. I'm excited for it. So we'll take a quick break. So make sure you get on your little tweet, I was going to say X, but I refuse to do that.
No,
Your ex videos.
no.
Get
Your ex
on
Don't go
tweets.
there.
Twitter. Damn
yeah.
it.
Get on Twitter, invite all your wrestling friends, all your heels fans, hashtag TWG fan club, twitch.tv/ those wrestling girls. We're gonna get into it. So we'll take this quick break and we'll be right back. Awesome.
That was quick as hell.
that
That
For a
wasn't a break.
reason.
That was like a hachu. We
Thank you.
back.
was
Well,
like blink, come back.
So tight.
let's go. We're gonna continue to break a little bit. Give
Let's
people a
continue
chance.
the
Yeah,
break.
just continue a little bit.
I think altogether, all of the women need more visibility on TV besides like the 10 minutes out of 3 hours that they get. But that's what it is. I think we just need to see more of that development on TV for us to even care. Because without social media, that's how the WWE universe got behind Dana Brooke, in my opinion, is social media, because we can see how bad she wants this. We can see how hard she works, how dedicated she is, and how passionate she is. And we want to root for that underdog. We want to be like, oh my God, look at Dana Brooke actually like getting somewhere. Like, oh shit, she beat out Ruby Riott, Lana to be in Money in the Bank. Like, that's a big deal. But
I mean,
without
Lana,
her,
not so much. But yeah, Ruby
but
Riott.
she's way more popular than like a Dana
that's true,
Brooke.
that's true, that's true.
And for Dana Brooke to actually get that spot and got a high spot in the match, I think is great. But it's like, what is WWE gonna do with that? Like, that's always the sad question.
I want to shout out everyone who shouts us out when Dana Brooke does cool things in NXT, because I would never say that we're the reason why she's thriving in NXT. I am proud that she is thriving in NXT and making her fans proud. So shout out to Dana Brooke. We did a spotlight back in 2019. We did an appreciation night a couple months ago. Those are all on podcast platforms. So if you are impressed with what Dana Brooke is doing in NXT, go check that out. Have you guys been digging Dana in NXT? The mask is but I'm happy for her.
I mean, I called this though when we talked about this on Dana Brooke Appreciation Night, which you guys can pull up on previous TWG Fan Club episodes. Going back to NXT is not a bad thing. Look what it did for Mandy Rose. Look what it did for so many people. Baron Corbin is rejuvenated and is about to have a match on his NXT pay-per-view coming up this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people going back to look at what the New Day did when they went back to NXT, became tag team champions, and put over that entire tag team crop. It's like going back down to NXT is not a bad thing. It can actually refresh, rejuvenate, and refocus certain people. And Dana wasn't really doing much on the main roster. They didn't really have plans for her. But now she gets to be like that veteran presence, like what Natty is on the main roster. She gets to be that for NXT. And now Dana's more refocused.
Right.
Dana tweeted out today, like, yo, like, she's locked in. And it's like, this is actually a good thing for her and a good thing for the women down there in general, because it's like you get a taste of what to expect coming up to the main roster.
Yeah, I like
So
it. I like it a
for
lot.
us, we need our 10% of like credit, because I'll give Dana the full credit, but we just need like 10% because, you know, since we did Dana Brooke Appreciation Night, look where, you know, she goes to NXT, she starts to buzz, she's been on there for a couple weeks. I'm just saying, like, the timing.
That's exactly what Corey with a K said. Exactly right there. You know, Kalani Jordan now getting some shine. That's what I'm really excited about.
Me
You
too.
know, because I'm always a fan of that mentor and mentor mentee relationship in wrestling. Everything doesn't have to be a tag team, but everything doesn't have to be like the retired manager.
Right.
And I think we see that right here. I always bring it up, Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA. You know, which I wish they would have really talked about that on his Dark Side of the Ring episode, but I guess it really wasn't enough room for it. But you know, check out the Legends of the Mid South DVD if y'all haven't. Y'all can get some insight on that relationship. But I see in these two, and you know, that's the thing about Shawn Michaels and Triple H running things. just from a watching wrestling, because they understand like how to do things the old way, but also how to evolve and move forward. And even with Rhea Ripley last night, going down there, and just really putting over you, not putting over as a sense of winning, losing a match, but just putting a shine on that talent. And the Judgment Day is hot right now. So when
Very.
you get people like that to go down to NXT, I mean, shoot, it's in Florida. They was in what, Tampa? So why not just take the drive over there from Tampa to Orlando? It's about an hour over the bridge. So why not
Give or
go there,
take.
and make some things happen? So this is a really exciting time. If y'all not watching NXT, I
You
definitely
need to be
suggest it.
watching NXT.
Yeah,
And
Damn
I
not
near
just
like
nothing
because
what
is
they're
Dana
on.
Brooke is
doing.
there.
Remember, I've been a fan of NXT for very like even 2.0. A lot of people were
That's
down
the thing.
2.0.
It's always like, even when you got to put that on. Most
Even
people
when
put that
people
on
were
there.
down 2 point because y'all were, it's okay. A lot of people didn't
Mhm.
know what's going on,
Yeah,
but look at
Lyra
where all the people
Valkyrie. I
from
always mess up her name.
some of the people that are on 2.0 are the people that y'all are really becoming y'all favorites, like Carmella Hayes. There's still some Braun Breaker fans, like
The growth of Trick
Dragonoff
Williams
when
has
it
been
was you.
impressive.
Yeah, I
Yes,
feel like
when
we're
they
gonna be
dropped
talking about
UK, we would have
them
never
too
had
soon.
Rhea. We would have never had Piper Nevin. We would have had never had Gonza, even though he was
Wait.
Walter. Like
Can we
we like
touch on that real quick, Cassandra? Because I'm not 100% agreeing with you. I
why?
understand what you're saying, because Rhea, they was still doing NXT UK when Rhea was already over here cooking and had already been a women's champion.
Yeah,
So
black and
I
gold,
think,
she was champion.
yeah, I think I see what you're saying. Like, we did kind of get a hot shot and a fast, a fast track to a lot of those
Hmm.
stars, but I still think those ones you name, we still getting them, like, because NXT UK put a light on them. But if anything, I think maybe some of them may have been a little hesitant to move. I can give you that. But I think overall, if they would have came over, because it would have become such a demand. A lot of people
Well,
didn't
you
watch
have
NXT UK as much,
But
but I
you
think it
also
would have
have to
been a
keep in
demand.
mind that the tone in the UK is always different than the tone in the US. We
Hmm.
always talk about letting people cook a little. You have to let the people in UK come over and bake a little bit, because
Hmm.
not all of them, like even a lot of people, they're just becoming fans of Gallus because of every now that they're a fraction now the way they were in UK. A lot of
Yeah,
people
that's
are
true.
starting to become fans of them. So you can't just let them out. They don't need to cook. They need to be marinated. You know what I mean? So like when
Hmm.
that brand shut down and they started slowly coming over here, it was like, okay, you got some people that know them, some people that don't. When Gallus won the NXT championships, people were like, who the fuck? I said, but y'all, if y'all watch NXT UK, you would have seen why they put the belt on those boys. Those boys work.
Nah,
So
that's
it's like
true.
to be fair, it's always going to be a that only gets wrestling. Like you've seen the reaction from Money in the Bank. They
Hmm.
hadn't had a pay-per-view in years, but even before they had that pay-per-view, they had that show. So
Yeah,
it wasn't like too much of an unfamiliar, but it was still a little unfamiliar enough. So it was like, okay, if they bring them to the US, how are people going to react over here? Because we know how they react over there, but how are
that's
they going
true.
to react over here? So I say Rhea because, and I could agree with you that Rhea is the exception to the rule. However, like she kind of built that house too with that crew. That had that belt was kind of like I think it was the first time the company was like, okay, let's see what she does with the belt. Because when she had the belt, it was a good run also in the UK. And then when she started coming back, transitioning back over here, it's like, all right, we already know what to do with her. Let's just put her in the position to be in that place. Give her the match with Charlotte. Make her the NXT Women's Champion over here. Make her change her style. Do this, do that. I think they were trying to test the tones of what they could do with Rhea, because and I say this, it's a lot harder to still with wrestlers from other countries. The company
Hmm.
sometimes still struggles with what to do and what not to do with them. So Rhea is kind of she's the bomb.com. So that's where I was going with that whole spiel. With NXT 2.0, you got to grow your favorites. And I like how treating out their brand, because a lot of people are starting to be like, well, what if they have a match with this person, this person, this person? Now you're seeing everything collide.
No, it's
And that's
true.
good. And it's not a downgrade to be on any of those
Exactly.
shows. And I feel like, and also it's not necessarily an upgrade to get called to the main roster too soon. And we can even have a whole fan club one day about like NXT call ups and the ones where, because I think like Shotzi's a good example, like even Scarlett and Karrion Cross, where like they were thriving in that more intimate environment, and then once they got into the main roster, it's just not really working.
Hmm.
Shout
Perfect
out to
example.
Letty in the comments.
Perfect example. I was
Hey,
listening back to the
Keely.
New Days podcast earlier today, and I was listening to the episode on the Usos, and the Usos were talking about when they got called up to the main roster. In the first 3 months, they were hot, and then the next 2 years, they cooled off to where they
Hmm.
had to figure out what do we do, how do we adjust, and this and that because of the whole adjustment period from FCW and NXT to now the main roster, and now all of a sudden you're not hot anymore. So how do we rebrand? And that's when they rebranded to the face paint and the chanting Usos.
Right.
But they went from call up, we were hot, and we cooled off considerably, and then 2 years went by.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
And
So
look
we'll
where the Usos
definitely
at now.
do right. A fan club on this topic because there's like so much to say about that. And shout out to Corey with a K who is joining us, Capricorn Gang. Also like
Letty.
one of my besties. I love him so much. I hope I see you this Saturday at Jobber Slam. But he is a Heels fan. So if you follow me on Twitter, if you follow those wrestling girls on Twitter, shout out to the Heels Stars account who's also following us on Twitter. But I've been
Flex.
tweeting about Heels forever because I think it is such a good show. It is so underrated, and the new season, and it was up in the air, kind of like, is there going to be a second season? Is it going to get canceled between the pandemic and just the niche topic that it's about, and the fact that it's on Stars, like you guys mentioned, like. Was it gonna last? And now it got renewed for a second season. The new season premieres on Friday, and I could not be more excited. So before we get into heels really quick though, I want to touch briefly on other shows that have depicted the wrestling business in a fictional way and kind of created its own universes. And I want to start with Glow because it's about women's wrestling, and it was about a real show. It's not necessarily based on a true story, but it's based on a real promotion of women's wrestlers back in the 80s that had a show, and there were amazing characters. It reminds me a lot of WoW Superheroes Now. But did you guys watch Glow? Did
I
you
was
like
a
it on
fan.
Netflix?
I loved Glow. I loved Glow. Loved. Like I was hooked to it for from the first episode to the last. I was sad that the pandemic canceled it because I wanted to see how far it was gonna go. But also, there's a very interesting documentary on Netflix about it, and it
Mm.
includes Ivory because Ivory's character kind of inspires Brie. Brie, I forgot her last. I always forget her name. The one that played the
I
heel.
know what you're
It
talking about.
inspired her
Yeah.
story. Yes, it inspired her story. So it's very interesting to see what these women went through because they wanted this spot so bad that they actually came up with these characters to inspire people and to be different, to be inspirational. Like it's almost like wrestling Barbie. You know what I mean? Like it was mostly like they weren't just out there being pretty faces. They were trying to tell people a story, and each one had their own personal story going on, their own personal background, and all these things going on. It was just an interest. It glued you. There's no way you weren't interested if you didn't watch the first 3 episodes and think
Right.
this is actually really good.
Right.
Mhm.
And what I'm always passionate about is when wrestling is being in the mainstream to where people liked Glow and watched Glow on Netflix that don't care about wrestling, but because you had such an iconic actress in it, you had I forgot her name and I love her so much, who plays the other character. She was in Nurse Jackie, but you had like powerhouses on that show. Not to mention the wrestlers who helped, like Chavo Guerrero actually helped train. He was a wrestling consultant on that show. Like I mentioned before, Taya Valkyrie was gonna be on the new. She was filming to be on the new season.
Awesome
Um,
Kong
yeah, she
being on
was in
there.
it both seasons, main character. I think she's a great, like, she did well on the show. Like if
Hmm.
I didn't know anybody, I would have thought like she's just an actress, not like a wrestler turned actress. But it's cool to see those opportunities for wrestlers to be like on a on Netflix show. It's huge.
And they had
Yeah.
a lot of hype behind them too. They had like
It
WWE was
did.
even supporting them. They
Mm-hmm.
had it was a huge when the first show first came out. Like I know AJ Lee even wrote like a comic strip about the show. It had such a lot of hype because it was something different. Like who was still writing wrestling TV shows? I mean, everybody was the last thing that they thought was great was Mickey Rourke and the Wrestler, which
Right.
Which
not
is a
gonna down that
fantastic
movie. It
movie.
is a great movie.
It's a
He
Right.
fantastic
deserved that
Hmm.
movie.
award. Not down at all, but they were excited to see something that different hit the platform.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
I loved it. Did you watch it, Brian?
No, I didn't get a chance. I watched a couple episodes, but I didn't. I was like, I'm gonna save it when I can actually deep delve into it because I wanted to make sure I could really enjoy it.
Yeah, it was a good show, and I think it showed the complexities, the blurred lines between reality and fiction, because the main baby face and heel of the promotion were former best friends, where one slept with the other's husband. So that it
Hmm.
started out in a very real storyline that a promoter seen and witnessed and said, you know what? She's blonde, she's brunette, she's America's sweetheart, she's the villain of the story because she, the adulteress, I guess. So it was built on this real life, heat that they had between them, and building characters around that was something special, and it was all women. And yeah, if you haven't watched the show, please go on Netflix, watch the first two seasons. We'll work on getting some petition or something out there to get it back on the air, because it is that good of a show, and I love everyone that was a part of it. So I think
Hmm.
if I had to like say whether or not I appreciated how they depicted the business, I would say I loved how they depicted the business. They showed the ugly side, they showed the opportunities, it showed the camaraderie, it showed all of that. So check out Glow,
It's a
please.
real dope
Nice.
show. It was a good change of pace for Netflix because you got to think back at that time when Glow was out. You also had Orange is the New Black going. You had Ozark going. You had Dear White People going. So that was like a wait, you have this wrestling show, and then you pull it up because that was at a time where Netflix was one of those. You hit play on one episode and you're watching the entire season go. And then you're like, yo, this is actually really good, really well put together. I start to care about these characters.
Hmm.
Like,
You start
I
getting
fuck with
invested.
yeah, and then it was like actually like people were commenting about this on social media too. So it wasn't just like me or Seindole that were watching. It's like, yo, this actually has an audience. I'm just like stunned that they were like, you know what, we're not bringing this back. It's like, why? But then
Yeah.
again,
Yeah, but a lot of people were upset they didn't bring it back either. That
that's
was the
that's on
interesting thing,
Netflix
though.
because Netflix started going in a direction of we want to do these premiere movies. We're giving Scorsese a fuckload of money to do The Irishman. We're
Right.
doing these other movies that aren't doing as well. I remember Will Smith got a
Hmm.
movie. I think the guy Ryan Reynolds, I think, got a movie on there. So they started trying
I
to
Yeah.
go for
remember
bigger
that.
movies.
I remember that. Yeah, it was when Netflix, I think, what did they see the success? And they saw the success in one of their films, and then it just like kind of skyrocketed into their own original like movie and original show, which a lot of people fell in love with Netflix because they were giving you old movies, full seasons, and their own original TV shows, and they started doing
Hmm.
movies and they kind of lost their purpose, but they still try and dip it. No, they really, in my
No,
opinion, I
they
think they
did.
really
They
did. They
did.
really, really did.
Hmm.
Like
They had
to
grander eyes for like we want to be mentioned at the Oscars and the Golden Globes with
right.
like these
They
other
they saw that.
studios.
I feel like they got like a toner boner because Orange is the New Black made it. So they were like, all right, what happens if we start doing movies? And then they started doing like more movies and trying to do more shows that can win at that pinnacle. But that's a whole
Yeah.
different story for a different day.
I'm gonna check it out. I've heard, I have a couple friends who don't even watch wrestling. Like even when like during the Attitude Era when wrestling was hot, they weren't wrestling fans, but they was like, this show Glow is really good. I definitely want to check it out.
It's worth the watch. I'm
Oh,
telling you.
definitely.
So I'm trying to think because they got all the way to Vegas. And I was like, that's
Hmm.
interesting because, like I said, if you know the history of Glow, you would know that they were an attempt to be canceled, but really they were canceled because they wanted more money out of it. And it was like it wasn't all about the money. It was more about the entertainment of it all. They went from a local gym and then the season ends with them being picked up in Vegas, and they all go to Vegas, and they realize that everything's kind of rehearsed. It's just worth the watch. Like you just you gotta watch it, you know.
I didn't know
So
there was 3 seasons. I thought it was just two. So I got a third
mm-mm,
season I gotta watch. It's been a
mm-mm.
minute for me.
And do watch it. I know it's still on Netflix. Like, do watch the documentary about Glow because it does go more into depth about like the characters they were creating. Ivory kind of talks about like her time there and why it inspired her to go after WWE and all this other stuff. And it had a little bit of romance in it. You know, it had a little bit about friendship. You know, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It had a good mixture, so it's worth the watch. You got
I
some time on a learn
absolutely
I'm gonna
print.
check it out.
You got some time on a plane. Just get into it.
No, I'll
Hey, look,
definitely
there's
check
a
it
lot of
out.
stuff I've seen on the plane that you don't get a chance to watch. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna watch it here.
So let's get into heels. If Corey would have case still in the comments, because I know he's a fan. Did you guys remember it being announced? Like, what was your initial reaction, or was those kind of things like, "Oh, that's a show"?
Can I be real honest with you? I thought this was,
Please.
I thought this was about Cody Rhodes' family.
Whoa.
Like when I first looked at it, because remember that when Stephen Arnell
Makes
announced that
sense.
this show was happening, he was very much around Cody Rhodes. So I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if he's like trying to study the Rhodes family. I was like, oh, and I remember even telling my best friend because she's such a big fan of Arrow. She was like, "No, he's not in the show." But I was like, "Yeah, and it's about the Dusty Rose family." And she was like, "Oh, I have to watch it." And then I watched it. I'm like, "Wait, this might not be." And I felt bad because I was like, I didn't know what I was talking about then, but I dead ass thought it was really about the Rose family because it's just about the brothers and the dynamic and how they were like trying to keep everything afloat. It just like the storylines kind of made it seem like I wonder if it's about like when they're gonna mention about their dad passing away, and also I was like, no, it's not about the Rose family, but whatever, it's still a good show. But I really at some point thought it was about Cody
They had you
Rhodes.
convinced, huh?
Yes, because he was hanging around Cody like a lot. So the like remember he followed Cody wherever he go. I don't care what he say, but it was really giving that. Like I thought he was doing like a whole like actors study their subject. Like Mickey Rourke like studied his subjects before he became the wrestler. So I thought that's what was going on, but I was wrong.
Hmm.
I apologize. Still a good show.
I'm sure there's a lot of influences for different wrestling families too, just mixed in there. Because, like I mentioned, it's a independent wrestling promotion in a small town. So Corey with a K says that he heard about it maybe a year before on a TV podcast, so he was preparing for it. So I also Corey with a K has great taste in shows.
Oh
I
yeah.
was kind of skeptical. Like I wasn't when I first seen it advertised. I wasn't like keen to like super get into it because it's one of those things where like when you're very protective of something and you're just like I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm gonna stay away. That's how I felt about Heels because I'm so protective about how the wrestling business is portrayed in the mainstream because there's
Hmm.
a lot of biases and judgmental stuff, and even to this day being a black woman that loves wrestling, like I've seen a lot of shit. So I was kind of like, I'll see how it goes. But then I started hearing like, rave reviews, and Brian H. Waters actually was like, no, you'll like really love this show. Like you gotta watch it. And I ended up binging the first season and I was like, this
Mm-hmm.
is such a cute show. Like you gotta just give it a chance. But it's only 8 episodes. You still have time to stream it before the season 2 premiere on Friday. But I really enjoyed it. It was such a fun journey. Brian, what was your first impression of the show?
I liked it because it was wrestling. To be honest with you, there wasn't a lot of like wrestling content out there. So, like, as far as like shows that was hitting mainstream. So when I first saw it, I was like, all right, let me get into this, and then the dynamic of, Jack and Ace, just seeing them and they got the belt, and I'm into it. They got the whole story, and it's like brother versus brother dynamic, like you mentioned earlier. So off the rip, I was interested. I heard that like CM Punk was gonna be in it. So that was also like, okay, let's see
Mm,
what he's
Mm,
doing now. I
that
mean,
too.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna sit there and act like the dude ain't a star. whatever he was doing. Like at that point, everybody was hanging on to everything CM Punk was doing wrestling related. When he was with the show on Fox, then when he was with this, I was like, all right, let's see what this is about. So I think that definitely added like some credibility to it. Um, I knew who Stephen Amell was just on the strength of his match with Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. I didn't know too much about him. Other
Mhm.
than that, I'm not really into superheroes and all that other stuff. So, but off the rip, I was interested.
Yeah. I appreciate that. We're gonna get into Stephen Amell because we do know he's a huge wrestling fan, like Corey with the K mentioned. So, you do feel better knowing that this is someone that loves and respects the business. And I want to tell my Stephen Amell story from when we were at the bar with him in LA. But if you, Brian, had to tell somebody what this show is
Mhm.
about, like what would you say? So it's about the two brothers. Like, can you give a little
Right.
bit more so people can know like
Sure.
why it's such a moment for the business?
I'll tell people this: if you ever really wanted to know what goes on the Indies and the territories, more so the Indies, because this is a good insight. You have two brothers, like you mentioned earlier, who essentially inherited their dad's promotion unexpectedly. You have one brother who was his dad said, "Look, you're going to wrestle." But then you had another who was like, you know, that's the baby boy, but he's going to be the star quarterback. And so you see the difference. Even see the difference the way the father treated them. Um, but the father, he takes himself out beforehand, so we get introduced to him through the characters because he's not on there. He like it immediately happens, so it's not like a spoiler. So now you see in Jack Spade, who's actually he's one of my favorite characters. Me and Queen PR went back and forth with this, but you see a different dynamic. So right here, you see him. He's a father and a husband. He's the
Mm,
champion and the promoter, but he also in the lower left corner, because he's the promoter, he has to make sure everything is in order. And then in the lower right corner, he's his brother's keeper because his
Yeah.
brother
mhm.
Ace isn't mature enough. So Jack
Right.
often feels he knows what's best for Ace better than what Ace knows. Where Ace is a spoiled brat, good looking guy, and
Mhm.
just does whatever he wants to do.
And
And hmm,
no, I just go ahead, Brian. I'm gonna say something after because
okay. Yeah, I was just say
go
that,
ahead.
I'm not gonna take all the juice, I promise. But
No,
so
go
you have
ahead.
this different dynamic, and you look at it and you say, okay, well, which sibling, right? And it makes sense to think it was about Dustin and Cody because Cody had Dustin. We know that. Cody
Mm.
had Dusty. Dustin didn't until he really got 14, 15, and then in wrestling. Then there was the dynamic, right? Cody was a superstar athlete in college in the wrestling level. Hence
Mhm,
that's why he won the lawsuit because he used the name Cody Rhodes when he won the Georgia State championship. So he was able to pull that footage, that audio footage. Um,
mhm.
so you have that, so it's that dynamic, right? But then you also think about, of course, you can't help but think about the Brett and Owen of it, right? The big brother, the little
Right.
brother. So it's so much. But what I really like, this has obviously been a women's wrestling platform, is the usage of women in this. Because you have,
Love me some Crystal.
right, but think about
Love.
the dynamics she went through.
Mhm,
Went from a manager just trying to really get Ace's attention, and then I ain't gonna ruin it, but she makes a name
mhm.
for herself. But then you got the old vet like Wild Bill, and what I love is they
Mm.
don't they the obvious the references up north. We all know where north is, and this takes place
Yep,
in
yep,
Georgia.
yep, yep.
Because like I hear y'all say all the time in New York. Um, so,
Don't do that.
so shout out. Let's pay homage to Sky Hall for a minute. Hey yo, but the
Hey,
thing is, it's like so. It's all of that. So it for me, I love watching it, and then also having had some work on the independent level behind the scenes. I got to see a lot of that stuff. You see Jack trying to like manage the books and put together a card. Then you got this wrestler who has this idea. You know, my guy right here, the black dude, not James Harrison. Forget the Steelers, but the
Oh, the Puerto
other
Rican,
black. Hmm.
the Puerto Rican dude.
Yeah, but, well, yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
but
say he's Puerto Rican.
I thought he was black and Puerto
Mm.
Rican. That's an app.
I
Okay,
I know that flag anywhere.
I know. I look. I just realized that part
Well, they don't
because
carry Riser on the show enough, so I can get
it,
why
it
you're saying what you're saying.
exactly. But you know, he's on there and but he wants to be a star. So you see that in wrestling. So it really gives you an insight. It makes you think like, I wonder if they really be doing this in the WWE. You know, how many times you think somebody running up to Triple H, hey man, put the belt on me and let me beat everybody. You know, so and then the whole dealing with the state. And like I said, what I really love is it takes place in the South. You can see they're a very religious family. So you see that dynamic between maintaining heel and face character, keeping
Mhm.
up kayfabe,
Yep.
working a real job. Like Jack has
I'm
to work a
so
real
glad
job.
I'm so glad you brought that up, like the kayfabe thing, because
Hmm.
it's so old school. And you go from, I also thought about the hearts a lot, just because
Yeah.
of the pride and like how our whole lives are going to be dedicated to, like, to upholding the tradition of wrestling. Period.
Hmm.
So when the brothers Jack and Ace they go back and forth between heel and face at some point throughout the season, and they go is one time Ace goes from being cheered to like going to, I think, a gas station and being like called a jerk based on a
Yeah.
wrestling storyline. So their
Hmm.
lives are affected by character changes and angles, like their actual everyday life is affected by it. I do also like how it extends to the family, like Jack's wife. Jack's
Hmm.
wife didn't sign up to have, be a part of this crazy world of wrestling. She met a man that she fell in love with who happened to be the son of the biggest wrestling guy in this small town. And now she's Mrs. Jack Spade and she has to go to these wrestling matches every week. She has to deal with, her husband spending money on fog machines instead of like a new fridge or something like that. I don't remember the specifics, but
Yeah.
just dealing with that, dealing with the fact that a lot of their livelihood depends on trusting your instincts, trusting creative. That's the big thing. Like a heel turn in an independent wrestling promotion like DWL, which is Duffy Wrestling League, because it takes place in Duffy, Georgia. Their livelihood is based on a creative decision that is going to make money for them eventually. So you have to really, like, I can imagine that pressure.
Yeah.
Like it's
Mhm.
insane. And then the women that are involved in it, we talked about Crystal, who was the valet, who actually knows how to wrestle and every single day has to, prove that she can be a part of things. And then you have what's the character's name that runs the show,
I
basically,
be
that works
forgetting
with
that lady name. Let me look.
Always, but she's one of my favorite characters because she shows that
Mhm.
behind every success, for the most part, behind every successful business there's a strong woman involved. Like, even like if you think
Hmm.
of WWE, like how involved Linda McMahon was, because you have Vince, the kind of circus wrangler, who was like, okay, he's the wild man, that can actually make wrestling a mainstream fucking event. But then you have Linda, who's like the business person, the politician that's gonna like make things happen in the background. Stephanie McMahon ended up being the one to kind of be the most like Vince instead of the son, which was Shane. So with in heels, it's the Spades Wrestling Organization, but it's this one woman that worked with, his father and worked with Jake, that actually runs talent, make sure everything is set, make sure the lights are good, make sure the cue is good and timing and all of those things.
Willie, right?
Willie.
Yeah.
So I love her character. What did you think of her character?
Oh, Willie was phenomenal. I had a photo of like so I'm always big on positioning when photography and
Mm,
especially like in
Me
videos.
too.
It's the reason why she's front and center. She's
right.
got the
It's a good
headset on,
shot.
you know, and she's commanding. She plays quarterback and she's very tough on Crystal, but it's because she was a woman. I'm interested to see because her and Wild Bill, they have like you can clearly see something was there at one
Mhm,
point in time.
mhm, mhm.
But then you also get an insight in her family life that to see things that she's married and has a daughter, but she's dedicating so much to this, and a lot of it's because she dedicated it to the father, and you see that. Gorilla Monsoon, Gorilla
Mm.
Monsoon was the
Mm.
same way with Vince Jr. Excuse me, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Because Vince hates being called Jr. That's what Freddie Prinze says. Um, oh shoot, I said his name. We ain't supposed to say his name on streams.
It's
All right,
okay. It's
In the
okay.
he who
box in
shall
the
not be
ocean, Brian. He
he
who shall
who
not be
said
named.
right, but he didn't. You know, Gorilla Monsoon was that guy for his dad, and then he kind of inherited him. So that's what you see right here. So all this stuff is always so like interesting. I really love her character. Really love just like I said, how she just takes control, making sure she got all the guys in line. She's time enough for Jack. She's not scared to back down, and because she knows everything that's happening. She knows what's going on. As they say, she knows where the bodies are buried.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. I want to touch on Andre's comment. He said, in that show, you see the dynamic and conflict between the old school gatekeeping mentality versus the open minded mentality that others had to do something different. I do agree with that because you have classic tensions that happen in the industry where, um, what's the name of the rival organization, babe? I think it's called, the extreme one
Yeah.
versus
Florida Wrestling
You talking
Dystopia.
about Florida?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes, and then
Shout
you
out
have
Wikipedia.
I know.
okay,
I was just about to look it up myself. Yeah.
but it's based in Florida and it's hardcore, it's extreme. They have all the funds in the world. But
Mm-hmm.
then you have Heel, well, DWF, DWL, who's in Georgia, and they're scraping by. They're going week to week. They're following their guts. They're doing like following their passion to make it work, and they're trusting storytelling in the ring. So you have
And,
that tension.
and you see that on the indies. If you will see, I seen this happen in MCW and RCW, former promotion, where you see them poach talent. You can't work here, or you can't
Right,
work there,
right.
and it's like, bruh, you know, um, like I said, homeboy with the fro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see all the different characters. You see the
Mm.
loyal ones that's like, we're gonna ride this out forever. Then you got the ones that's like, I came with the Kevin Nashes of the world, where it's like,
Niggas,
I came
listen,
into this
Kevin
business
Nash
to
is
make
the
money,
wrestling.
to be on
Yeah,
top. Scott Hall too. Like, I don't know what y'all in this business for. I got my friends already. I got my family, but I'm trying to make money.
they are the
Mhm.
poster children for where the money reside, where the money reside, where the money reside. Because when W gave them check,
Mm,
they said, "Chingle changle,
bye
I'm going
bye,
straight to the bank." They pulled the 50. They said,
bye
"Listen, I
bye.
want my money by Friday. Okay,
Mhm.
Did
I
you
want my
guys
money by
see?
Friday."
Hey man, Jobber Slam has like the theme for this. It's, you see this in New Jack City. Friends is
Yeah,
friends. This is
Jobber
business.
City.
Hello,
Yeah, this is gonna be a movie.
I'm telling you.
Yo, I love that. I didn't even mention that when we talked about Jobber Slam. Like, I love how like Jobber Tears and Black Wrestling is really like leaning on the culture for creative inspiration. Like, I think that's so
Mhm.
dope. Another thing with Hills as well too is like everyone is so concerned with what's next, but then
Mhm.
they're just trying to like get to like week to week to week. And also I love that this takes place in like present time. And a lot of stories, sorry, like aren't
Mm.
really that interesting when you like bring in like YouTube and like social media, because you have to figure out a way to tell
Mm.
stories about like things that are in your phone, if that makes sense. So it's hard to like make a show like in real time that's where it's like, okay, is it gonna grab me? But they have done a really good job of showing like those new ways of promoting indie shows, like viral videos, like posting things on YouTube. They were posting or filming promos on Instagram.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did a really good job of implementing a lot of those new things while still, like Andre mentioned, like that conflict between the old school way of doing things, that old school mentality, to how to have an open mind. And I think Crystal has to deal with a lot of old school thinking and a lot of like internalized misogyny that's just in the business. Like even Willie, I feel like has a little bit of it too,
Mm-hmm.
because she had to deal with it. She didn't go far because she was a woman and there was a lot of obstacles. So she's
Mm.
kind of putting that on Crystal, but it's like, wait, no, we're in a new time. She means well, but we're in a new time. So it definitely, I think, it does well with like that conflict of old school, new school, and you see everyone having to like prove themselves in this like new world, which makes me even more excited for season 2.
Yeah,
So
fact.
she's like the female Triple H then, where it's like I'm bringing a
Mm,
new way of
Mm.
of bringing to the product and refreshing the product, a new attitude and a output of this. But at the same time, because I'm a woman, y'all gonna have these preconceived notions of like, here's your limit. You know,
mm-hmm.
some people
Mm-hmm.
the sky's the limit. Some people the limit's the sky.
Right. Right. So, Siendo, you watched the first episode. What was your impression? Do you want to continue watching? Are you going to try to
Oh
finish it
no, I'm
before
oh
Friday?
no, oh no. We're definitely going to continue watching.
Ooh,
We're
yes.
like where it's gonna go, and I told y'all I love me some Crystal. Where
Mm-hmm.
you can see the tone and everything's about to go. Because if
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but if you watch the trailer, you kind of see the shift in dynamic where everything's going. Because we just talked about how Ace is spoiled and rotten, right? Like where we left off was Homeboy's done. Like he's like, you know what, this is too much. It's too much conflict. There's too much going on. Like he's out. So now we're gonna see not only that transition of. I feel like I want to call it. It's funny that Punk is on the show because I feel like Ace is about to go down the same road that Punk has gone down.
Mm.
So where it's like, do I want to be here? Do I not want to be here? Is this? Can
So
I carry?
true.
Can I
Oh
like?
shit,
And might I say,
Valhalla.
Punk is hilarious in this show. I have to give it up to him. Like his acting chops between this and Sons of Anarchy Mayans, like
Uh-huh.
he's a good actor. But his gimmick and everything in this show is hilarious. But like you see that happen with Ace, where it's like he's like, do I want to keep going? He's like gun ho and like I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. But then you see traits of like him slowly. He's like, you know what? Maybe no, yeah, no, that type of thing. And I'm interested to see what goes on with Crystal because now she's finally at the top of her own personal pinnacle. And now you're gonna see also those challenges of what happens where they say it's not only lonely at the top, but you'll have people clawing at the bottom of your
Right.
foundation to get to where you are. That I'm interested in. So after the first episode, I'm like, oh no, this is a ritual. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way I was on BMF on Stars, I'm about to be on this show too.
Oh, you
Like
watch
it,
BMF too?
love BMF. Are you kidding
Me
me?
too.
Ooh, I gotta get
Love
back into
BMF.
it. I fell off. I gotta get back into it. But I'm
But
BMF
glad
you
is
you
know,
like it.
solid. The documentaries are really good.
It
see, I want to
is.
wait for that. I'm gonna wait because I know that's gonna be so good. So I'm gonna wait. One thing's
What?
about you brought up like CM Punk. I was looking at an interview earlier today, just doing a little bit of homework, and they asked him, "Was was it was this what brought him back?" And he said he talked to Stephen Amell, and Stephen Amell asked him, and then he was like, "So you coming? We doing this thing? You gonna come back to the ring?" And he was like, "I don't know, should I?" But I can imagine this kind of gave him the itch. You going in there, you
Yeah.
smelling the canvas and the ropes, and you're ripping and running the ropes. I can imagine that. So that was pretty cool. But did we talk about Mick Foley?
Oh
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was a
You
podcast
know,
Cut it.
I
host, I
can't believe I
think.
forgot
Oh
about
my
old
Oh,
god.
he
Mick,
was in
just the
this.
fact
mama's little boy. I can't believe I
this
forgot
like
about him.
this is what he like. So
Stephanie.
it's a
It's in the
lot
chat.
of people a lot of wrestlers who have podcasts, who written books. The one of the reasons that I've always respected Mick Foley is because I know he's a trained journalist. Like he went to school for journalism.
Mm.
I learned that reading in his Have a Nice Day book. And it's the reason why he's a bestseller. He's a phenomenal storyteller. And when he had his show and we did WWE Network Appreciation Day, when he had his show there, he always just like Stone Cold Steve Austin, ask the right questions. And even on the show, he does it. And I'm just glad that he was able to get his footnote and be able to contribute to this because it's so good. One of the independent wrestlers who's Facebook friend of mine is Luke Hawks. He's in it. He's with the rival company, and you see that and even his son, shout out to PJ Hawks, he's in it too. He just makes a cameo. I saw it on the Internet Movie Database page, but just to see them, and I think like shows like this also gives opportunities
Right.
for people. I don't know, but I hear there's some more in season 2. So
Yeah,
you
and we see
know,
faces that we might know in season 2.
Like
hmm
Jamie.
Yes, that's the
Mm.
very exciting part of it. And there's a lot of people, like even Steve. I want to talk about Stephen Amell also, just because. Shout out to Stephanie Hardy. Do you watch Hills Girl? What you love
Stephanie.
about the show? Let us know.
I wonder, did she catch her shout out earlier?
We
I
definitely
I,
gotta
know.
do
hope
We
I
got a
hope she
little
coming
shout
to
out
Jobber
here.
Slam.
All right, who's gonna be in New York on Saturday? Like we need to
Me.
know. Like, we had a good ass
Me.
time.
We
Yes,
need to.
Steph.
I feel like we need a link
FOMO.
up for everybody who's not.
I'm hoping. I talked to my co-host, one of the founding fathers of the Black Wrestling Podcast, brother Cal. I was like, "Yo, you am I gonna see you this weekend?" But he just got back from vacation. I
Yeah,
don't know. He'll see, but I did talk to brother Fam and brother Math. I believe they'll be in the building too. So cookout vibes again. I can't wait.
I
I
cannot
know.
wait. We
Yo,
had the
between
I feel like
what
link up. I feel like a link up needs to happen on Friday. I don't know. I'm just throwing that in the air. I mean,
absolutely,
brunch also
absolutely.
beforehand.
what,
I'm
what
just throwing it
so
up there.
what's the people who did the drinks last year?
Tipsy
Oh,
Geek. Shout out to
shout
Tipsy
out
Geek.
to
We love
Tipsy
you,
Tips.
Geek.
Tipsy Geek.
So between Tipsy Geek, man, bring your boyfriend. We had this conversation, Steph. Bring your boyfriend. He got
Listen,
you a
it's not.
belt, so like he likes wrestling.
No, I mean, you don't know what he got planned. Come on, as somebody
I,
who
What's the
is,
anniversary? I want to know what year, how many years.
they got like 18
Congratulations, by the
they've
way.
been
years.
down for
Shout
a
out to
while.
them.
They've
How
been
Yeah,
long?
down
I
we
for
mean,
a
the
while.
they got
boyfriend
they
probably has his own submission match planned out. Like, let
yo
him be. Let
yo.
him
I'm
be.
just saying. I'm saying. Listen, I don't always agree with the messery over here, but he's right. Listen, you don't get 11 years. Yeah,
If
We'll
it's
Oh,
see
the
you next
11
year.
anniversary,
years. Oh my
nah.
god, that's
11 years.
amazing.
Get
That's
your rocking
Baby,
awesome.
I'll
all
see
Sadiq
you. I'll
on
see you.
and
I'll see you when I see you, baby. Do that. That's a whole decade.
yep.
That's a Raw
That's
X episode.
cute.
Do your
That's
thing.
Whoa, yo, y'all just going in.
Raw X,
cute.
strictly on X videos or X
Stop
Twitter
it.
or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh my god. So
Zeet.
yeah.
Zeet, zeet, zeet.
No, what made me mad when I saw that logo on Monday Night Raw. Man, it said thank you, Chris.
We're not talking about.
Boo.
I'm
I was
getting
like,
off in a week. Shout out anybody who wants to follow me on Instagram because I'm
nah, I
done.
ain't
Like
going
that's
nowhere.
just
I'm close to 10,000 followers. God dang it, I'm like
y'all have fun.
7
You
away.
gotta
I
make
ain't
it to
going nowhere.
10K at least before you leave X.
All right, y'all follow me
Man,
at Brian H Waters.
you know how
Between them
hard it
and the
was to
and the,
rebrand this after Twitter got my shit fucking the OG account suspended? I'm going nowhere.
Mm.
I will fight Elon for this. I'd be like, yo, Exhibit, weren't you pimping rides in like 99? Like, don't you own like the trademark to the letter X? Like, someone get it. Sesame Street. Y'all go back to like the 70s. Someone's got to own this letter X.
somebody called a
Stop him.
Powerpuff Girl daddy and be like, listen, they trying to
Is
use
this like
chemical X up
Powerpuff?
there. They trying to use chemical X. I'm gonna need you to call up your reinforcements, get the patent ready, because
Someone grabbed the mic from Kendall Musk.
he doing too
Bruh.
much. He doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yo,
doing
what
too
about
much.
what was my man named Bobby on Heels?
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
that the nice one.
Yeah,
He
Bobby
was
Ped.
so nice.
he's like the definition of what you always hear wrestlers say when they talk about somebody. Like Tori Wilson gets this credit all the time. Too nice for the wrestling business.
Oh yeah, he is such a good heart. He believes in the good of everything, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have that. It's a good range too, because you have like the people that are like despicable, but then you have the people that you can't help but love, and then you see the differences between their in ring persona and their real life. It's a good thing. You know what
Now,
else? I
I had a
also
conversation with Jack. I mean, Stephen Amell about his persona.
I,
That don't go on air though.
no, But I do appreciate that Stephen Amell, and why
Mm.
I, should have trusted from the beginning is like he's a true fan of wrestling. He loves it. He trained to do it. He had a match against Cody Rhodes, was it?
And so it's him and Pac, Neville at the time against Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow.
Oh wow. That is like super 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 cool. I'm so like happy for him because I'm pretty sure like he didn't say it, but I'm pretty sure like Hills is his passion project. I think this
Mm-hmm.
is something that he always
Stephen
loved and
Amell and
enjoyed.
Neville versus Stardust and King Barrett at SummerSlam. That was the
Barrett, yeah,
match.
my bad. Thank you, thank you.
Nice, nice. Yeah, like you can tell, like he always wanted to do this. He respects it. A lot of the episode titles are wrestling based. I think the first episode is called "This Is Kayfabe." You got an
Mm-hmm.
episode called "Dusty's Finish." There's a lot of like Easter eggs in there. So if like you're a true
Yeah.
fan, like you'll really pick up on those. I don't want to like
Yeah.
spoil a lot of it because I want if you're on the stream listening right now in the fan club, like watch the show. But there are so many Easter eggs in there for like the true wrestling fans, but at the same time casual people can watch it because it's really a story about a family. It's a story
Mm-hmm.
about a small town. It's a story about resilience and hope and hard work and fame and all of these different things. You got CM Punk in it. You have Mick Foley starring in it. Um,
You got
it's
the guy
just
who plays Ace Spade was in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Wild Bill
And
Hancock was in
now
True
CM
mm,
Blood and
Punk
The
is literally about
Wire.
to be back in the ring with his wife because his wife is on there.
he's gonna be in
I
season
saw.
2. AJ Lee, very exciting.
Let's light
Very
it
very
up.
Light it
Light,
up
light,
in the
light.
sky. I
Let me
swear to
She's
God,
light it
in
up.
epic
shit just stuck
shape.
in your head. Yo,
It's the best, and she's in
part of
such
that,
great
people were
shape.
wondering why she was getting in so much shape. And now we know it was because of the character on the show, but she looks phenomenal. She says she got to eat cookies and do hit
She's
cardio.
always
Let
looked
me find
phenomenal,
out.
but yeah,
Ooh,
she whatever Trish is taking and AJ's taking, like drop the regimen, please.
yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Trish, because it is a phenomenal thing to watch. And I agree with you, Steph. I don't watch WoW as much as I would like to, but I do love that there's a women's wrestling show on CBS that AJ Lee. I mean, yeah, AJ Lee is a part of. Shout out to everyone that's on that show. But
CBS, right?
I'm sorry.
CBS, right? So that's Paramount
Yeah.
Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then in schooling, our Patreon exclusive show with Krista B and Pablo the Don, like they go into the show, they go into the characters and other just like kind of women that really need to be talked about that we don't talk about enough on the platform and stuff. You can check that out. A little quick plug. But the fact that AJ Lee can work in the wrestling business without taking bumps and doing things that she's passionate about, and like her and her husband, taking Hollywood by storm as former wrestlers, like I love the fact that they're going to be in the ring together for the new season. Like that alone, I think should sell anyone to watch this show on Stars.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
a really good look.
If you watch WoW, I know Stephanie watches WoW. They be like teasing. Like AJ lately has been teasing that she could, but then she pulls back and then she kind of like brings back. So she's a very good commentator on the show, by the way. But I just think it's interesting that like, do you think a TV show can bring somebody's passion back to the business? In your guys' personal opinion?
I think so because I think you can be in the locker room and you get that feel of it. Like, well, this is how it's supposed to be. This is that and the other. Because wrestling is a TV show. It's just that, like John Cena even said, the best part about wrestling is you go out there, you get it done, one take, boom, you out. Where in TV or movies, you got to work on something for 8 hours. So I
Right.
think it
Mhm.
could.
I agree with this stuff. You are phenomenal on commentary. I was lucky enough to be at shows where you were announcing and doing commentary. I love that. And I wish you were here Saturday, but like I always say, there's always another wrestling show. And Heels is good. It's if you like shows like those dramas, just in a we love Succession, like those type of shows, like Hills is kind of that and about the wrestling business. So it's really cool and really fun, and I love that Stephen Amell champions it so much. So I, me and Brian and Krista B, like we met him in LA and he was at the bar and he was so approachable. Like I can't even tell you how approachable he was. Like he was talking to everyone. And as someone who had just finished binging Heels, like I was marking out. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Jack Spade!" Like I had to not get mad because I wasn't a fan of Jack Spade in the first season. He's definitely a heel in my book. And then when you watch the show, you know why I say that. But he was so happy to talk about the show. Like Brian, I know you were there. I don't know if you agree, but his face lit up. Like as soon as I brought Heels, he was just like, "Yeah, I want to talk about it."
I like that. I like that. Like
No,
you can see people's passions in their faces. Like I think that's why he does it in the first place. Is like
right,
imagine us how geeked up we feel when we meet other wrestling fans. And I found like me and P been friends for nearly a decade. When I found out she was a wrestling fan, that my like she could tell face looked like a freaking Christmas tree. I'm like, wait, what? Like me and you've been like going out scouring the town. I'm just finding out you used to watch wrestling as a
right,
kid too. Like it was like so imagine them working in it, being in the business, doing writing it, making a TV show. He got to wrestle at SummerSlam, and he meets people like us who probably don't look like typical wrestling fans, but then we bring up the characters on the show and like
right.
they do this for that, for the love of that. So I love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah, it is such a good thing to see. So I haven't posted this picture yet, so this is definitely a fan club exclusive. But I was able to take a picture with
Aww.
Jack Spade. You can see how happy I am in my face and just how nice he was.
Hollywood P.
No, I'm a
No, we already
fan. I'm a fan.
explained.
I'm not Hollywood. I'm a fan. Brian
This
was a
is
celebrity who was already
That face in the
familiar with
picture
him.
You
says
got a
different.
Hollywood shirt on.
For
We
you can't
already
see the
explained
Hollywood
this,
part. It's a
Justin.
Stone
She
Cold
got a
shirt.
Hollywood
We've
shirt. She's got
already
a Hollywood
explained this.
blazer. She's got a Hollywood drink standing
We've
next
already
to a
explained
Hollywood
this.
hunk.
Patricia is Broadway,
Oh
Krista
my
is socialite, and Brian is Hollywood. We're not gonna mess up the formula. So this is
gosh.
definitely Broadway. This is opening night at the theater. Patricia, making she just made her a big
Well,
Broadway
after
debut,
we come
another
back
Tony
from
Award winning
Detroit,
show.
we're
So
gonna have to
wait, so
figure out where
Sienna, what does that
you
make us?
fall.
Bodega?
No, absolutely not. I refuse. Even though Bodega makes people famous. Shout out to Jay Bougie, but no.
Ooh,
Jay Bougie
yes.
made the bodega famous. Get it right.
Yes, he did.
That is true. That is true. But I
But you
was
know what?
so
Oh,
go ahead, Brian.
no, I was gonna answer your question as far as you know, I was gonna call him Jack Space, Stephen Amell. The thing is, usually when you run into like celebrities and stuff, right? You don't want to talk about their work. You know, you be
Right.
like, all right, let's just talk about something else. And the visual that lives rent free in my head was when you brought up heels and stuff, and he's like, all right, I don't want to press you about it. And then he's like, him just doing this.
Yes.
Come on, let's talk about it. And when I said to him, I said, yeah, this would have been like the perfect time. He said, yes, it would have been a perfect time right now for them to drop the trailer. It's WrestleMania weekend. And you could just see like him just being so happy to just like be able to talk about the show, to be able to talk about people who watch the show and appreciate it. And it was just like one of the few times where I was like, actually, probably the only time I ever got to like talk to a actor or actress about their character in real time. And like I said, I'm not putting
Right.
that conversation is to stay right here. But I was just like, yo, like this is cool. But you could just see his passion about it. And that's the reason why I'm so happy we got to do this show, that we got to put a spotlight on this show, because it's like I was looking through stuff and it's being covered, but not that much. But it's so good, and that's the reason why I urge everybody who hasn't checked it out yet, go check it out. If you love wrestling, if you love TV, if you love drama, you will be hooked. And it's season 2, man. Season 2 is gonna be so good.
So
It's
good.
gonna be
Trust me.
lit.
I can't wait.
You got to finish. How far are you in? Just one episode?
One episode.
Oh, yeah,
That's the
yeah.
good thing.
Oh,
It's
you got
only
homework.
8 episodes, so it's like it's a really good binge, real quick. You got like
It
what
is a good
48
binge.
hours, I think.
I have homework
Yes.
this weekend before NXT's
Well,
pay-per-view.
I have I mean, I'm home, so I got things to do, but I could be in between two things, so I'm good. I got the game plan was there. Like I wouldn't have never started watching it if I didn't have a game plan in place. Because Pete knows I binge. Like
Yes,
I binge.
one of
If
my
it's a really
favorite.
good show, I'm gonna watch an episode per day. Like I got through Ghost, so I know for a fact that I got this.
You got this, girl.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So we'll definitely be live tweeting the season premiere, the season 2 premiere on Friday night. We'll be live tweeting every Friday night for the show. And if you follow those wrestling girls, if you check out thosewrestlinggirls.com, there might be some other fun content in there about heels in the show because I'm so excited about it. Shout out to Stephen Amell and everyone over at Heels and everything that they're doing. And I just, I hope this is one of those shows where the second season builds up that momentum and that hype to where like every wrestling fan is watching Heels. And then season 3 is going to be an even bigger season. God willing, all these strikes and everything. Shout out to Christina, who is protesting, she's picketing, she's not,
Yeah.
she is a part of SAG and she is not with it either. So it's an interesting time right now in the entertainment business. So I think it's a good time to just sort of like get into kayfabe and just enjoy this new wrestling universe that's all new to us, especially if you haven't watched Heels, and invite your friends to watch it. Like I try, that's everyone's homework is like, if you watch Heels and you're watching this, tell your best wrestling friend to watch it.
Yeah.
Support
Join
the
us
content
every
because if you're
Friday.
paying attention to the SAG after stuff, it may be a minute
Right.
before you see new TVs and
Right.
movies
Yeah.
that aren't already in the can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's all like what they're asking for. When you look at the terms and condition on both sides, this is going to be a long haul. Like it's not going to be the last time we had a writer's strike was what?
It's been a minute for the writers, but to have the actors on
And the
top of that
actors, yeah, it's
striking,
been
it's been a long
decades.
time.
Yeah, and the last time it was like this, like shows were gone after that. So, and then, but also you saw a rise in content creators. So it's fight for those who deserve it. Don't break the line, like, but at the same time, be on your Zoom. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hmm.
The
But
last
support the
time we've
cause.
seen,
I support SAG 1,000% of the way. Like
Mhm.
I thought about doing movie reviews, and I'm gonna put a complete hold on that because of support of them. But yeah, definitely look into it. Support any way you can. Shout out to my boss who bought a whole picket line pizza at one point. So he's definitely
That's
talking
nice.
about doing it again, buying them lunch and all that stuff, and to donate to the cause.
Mm. She frozen.
She frozen, but she cute.
One person who's on TV right now as we watch AEW as a family,
As a
my boy Jack Perry. We've been talking so much Jack Speed,
oh yeah.
the artist
Son
Again,
from,
of an actor.
and he got the shirt that says Hook, but it says I beat in orange.
nice, nice. I love it. I love it. I love it.
he's a
Can
jungle man.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
he ain't nothing
um
jungle about him no more. He's Jack Perry.
Hey
he's Jack
man,
Perry. I'm gonna tout about AEW
Please,
just
how
a
was that
little bit.
experience?
It
Hmm.
was unexpected. So first of all, if you follow me on Instagram, if you have the pleasure of following me on Instagram, you know that it was a complete accident
That's
how I
some
ended up
Hollywood
there.
stuff right there. I'm just gonna say,
It is. Y'all can
if you
tell
have
him
the
that when y'all
Wait,
meet
so
him.
pleasure,
how did
Anyway.
you end up at Collision?
Yes. So the whole first of all, waking up that day, I was back and forth with myself whether or not I should even go. Because remember, every time that I wanted to go, something
Mhm.
always happens, and I got the fortunate to go with you and Brian, Patricia and Brian. We all went to a pay per view together, and that was the last time I went. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just find a ticket and go. And then as the day started coming down, nobody could really go. I was tired. I'm recovering from something, so I was like, all right, maybe it's not in the cards for me this time. We're just gonna go to a block party. Shout out to Hosley Street. Shout out to Brown Mill. I was gonna shout out the creator because he's actually a really good friend of mine. He had a pop up block party in Newark. So I was just basically gonna be like a solo day and meet him down there. And then he was like, hit me up with a text and was like, you know what? No, meet me at Prudential. And I was like, why am I meeting you by Prudential? And I'm thinking we're going to like, if Patricia knows there's a bar called Reds right across the street. So I'm thinking
Oh
we're going
my
to the bar.
God, Rez.
So I'm thinking we're going
My
to the
dream
bar.
place.
And then he's like, I'm like, okay, I just parked down the block. And mind you, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't ever park in a garage, just park on the street. It's dead, it's after 4, you don't get a ticket, you're fine. Um I know they say it's Newark, but ain't no bum that brave to be breaking into nobody's cars with all them cameras. So just park on Hosley, on Washington, on Bradford, you'll be able to just walk up to the arena. Anyway, So I get there and I'm thinking, okay, this is weird. He's like, oh no, come inside and come to will call. So I go up there, check my bag. My name has a ticket on there to where I'm sitting. And he's standing there with a freaking FTR shirt in his hand. I'm just like, what is
Mm.
going on? And he's like, I couldn't let you watch this by yourself. He was like, you always gush about watching this. I wouldn't feel right if you didn't come. So basically I'm sitting there, I'm trying not to geek because I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, when we got there, Powerhouse Hobbs just whooped somebody's ass. So that was worth the watch. And then it was like the start of the show. And I was like, wait, holy shit, like I'm really here. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go get myself a Red Bull. I'm gonna go get myself some fruit punch and I'm gonna enjoy my goddamn self. And it was
Mm.
so worth it. Like
I
watching CM
love
Punk and Ricky
it.
Starks feud build, watching freaking it was so much going on. Also, shout out to Ashley Andretti's mama because I got to sit next to her. Didn't even know that was happening. And
Nice.
he was wrestling that night with Dante Martin.
Mm.
So shout out to them against Switchblade. So shout out to them. She's the sweetest person in the world. She follows her son everywhere, like a supportive mama. So shout out to her. I said I was going to do that. But all in all was 10 out of 10. I would do it again. I got to see an ROH show before and after. Shout out to
Mm.
Shane Taylor
Nice.
who wrestled. Shout out to Athena that wrestled. Shout out to Cheeseburger because I know who Cheeseburger is. He wrestled also. He
Ooh.
got to wrestle Tony
Nice.
Nelse. So all in all, 10 out of 10. I would do it again. It was definitely whoever paid that money was worth the ticket because it was a cheap ticket, but it was worth like it was a lot of stuff going on. It was worth it.
I love
It
Yeah,
was
that.
good.
that
See,
was
And it
see
was
tough.
a
how
packed
God
house too.
works.
Shout out to Newark and New Jersey. Shout out to Jersey and New York because it was packed. So no,
Nice.
like the seats were full.
I feel like that show, because it's a Saturday night, may not do good in ratings, but I think it's a really good night out. So they
Yeah,
might
like
like make up for ratings and ticket sales. Because I will say I don't watch AEW regularly, but I will go to a live show anytime. It was
right.
so much fun.
Yeah, like shout out, and it's like it made sense. I was like, why would they shout a show at 6 o'clock? They taped one show and then they had Honor Club right after. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like you got to see some of your favorites. Like I was surprised to see Shane Taylor wrestling, but I'm like, wait, it's Ring of Honor. I shouldn't be surprised. Like it was really worth to stay. Like everybody stayed. And even at that, like I always joke, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch wrestle on a Saturday night, but like there I was on a Saturday night with nothing to do, and what did I go do? Watch wrestle. So I totally eat my own words on that point.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like you're in there by 6 and you're out of there by 10. So if you wanted to go across street to the bar, go ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
That's
it
what's
worked
up.
out.
I love that for you, girl.
I'm
And
glad you
Christian
had a
And
was
good time.
hilarious. That whole match was
I like
funny.
Christian.
That whole match was hilarious.
Christian better than Edge
He's so
in the
good.
ring.
That's
Listen,
not a
the man
controversial
came
take.
out there with a turtleneck and might have superpowers because he was doing real good.
Yo, did
And
you
then
see his Twitter when he said he
he
don't?
successfully defended. I was like, it wasn't even
No,
for
the one
that.
where he's like showing how ripped he is. He said, "Y'all
Oh
don't get
yeah,
to
he's
see
like,
this
I'm in
because
better shape than 20-year-olds.
yeah."
I was like, you ain't lying.
He listen,
Mm-hmm.
ain't wrong.
Looking at my gut.
Oh man. So I definitely love when we can kind of like focus on these fan clubs, like on things that we like love to talk about. Like I absolutely, from the feedback we got on Twitter, we will absolutely be doing a glow appreciation night at some point
Yeah, I've seen a
in the
lot of
fan
people
club.
tweeting
We'll
about it.
give Brian H. Water some time to watch it, but we'll do that. We were gonna talk a little bit about Young Rock, but I also think that has sort of a cult following as well. And I would like to dedicate a night where we kind of talk about
Yeah.
Young Rock, and especially now that we know it's not coming back. But 3 seasons was good.
We gotta add a part 2 to the list. Justin, you gotta add that to the list. We gotta do another
Yeah.
TV wrestling.
Absolutely. We'll
It's
do a
definitely
glow
worth it.
one. We'll do Young Rock one. We'll do one about movies because I definitely want to get into the wrestler, which did very well. Like it was a critically acclaimed film,
It
and it
got
was about the
nominated for an
wrestling.
Oscar. Mickey Rourke got nominated for an Oscar. Marissa
Oscar, so
Tomei's
worth
in
it.
it. It's very good. It's very dark. And the director that did that does those type of like critically acclaimed movies. He did Black Swan. He did Requiem for a Dream. Like those types. So like the wrestler's like a really like
Nice.
Ready
And
to
then let
Rumble is like a comedy. Wrestler's like, all right, this is us really taking it serious.
Right.
yeah, Larry
True.
Legend was in the
Okay.
wrestler. Shout out to him.
Oh wow, good for
Yeah,
him.
because they recorded that during a CZW event. Shout out to brother Brandon. He was there that night too. And my understanding, like with the wrestler, what was so cool was it led into a story with Chris Jericho and Mickey Rourke at WrestleMania
Oh
25.
yeah.
You know, and that's like one of before
Randy the
Jericho started
Ram.
having. Yeah, that was probably Jericho's last good WrestleMania match, in my opinion. When he went through all the legends, what was it Jimmy Snuka, Roddy Piper, and Ricky Steamboat? It was like he really got to wrestle his heroes uh, that night.
That
But
was what,
that's when
25?
yeah, it's a hidden gem because I mean you had the Hardys going against each other that night, John Cena, Big Show, and Edge going against
Oh
each other.
yeah.
Obviously, Taker,
And
Sean.
Oh,
that's Taker
okay.
Sean.
You just jogged my memory with that. It wasn't okay. Now I understood what you were
Yeah,
talking about. So I
I
was
was
like,
thinking
Ricochet
at
was
one
that.
point that was one of like my top 5 WrestleManias. At one point, WrestleMania 25, because it was like that good.
Yeah, because you said last
Mm.
Jericho banger. I was like, wait a minute. 28 with Punk was actually really good. And then the 32 match with him and AJ Styles was actually solid.
They were okay, but they
Yeah.
wasn't. They was so you know what it was. We by that time we was coming to expect Chris Jericho to possibly put on the best match, and so we had higher expectations. And it was like, okay, Jericho's going to steal the show. He's going to steal the show. And by that time, he wasn't stealing shows. Like they were good matches, they just wasn't
Mm,
show stealers. And AJ Styles is honestly on the same level as Jericho when it comes to his WrestleMania matches. Like his match with Shinsuke, you could say the crowd was tired or whatever, but you know you were expecting a lot. His match with Edge, you're expecting big things out of him on a WrestleMania, and they just don't deliver to the level of expectation. Then they come back the next month, run the match back, and it's great.
yeah. I can totally see that.
Mhm.
Like
I
for
think
sure.
Ricochet and Logan Paul gonna steal the show. I know I just like hopped out of nowhere
I
with
think
that.
with
It'll
a
be
Here's the
possible.
thing.
memorable.
They're gonna open this. If they don't open SummerSlam with that, they
Oh,
Mm,
messed up their
opening sounds
booking.
good.
They're gonna open
That,
that bad boy with that match. Like if I understand everybody's so used to like Logan Paul being the main attraction, but like if you want the show, every time they open the show with a high fly like that, every Seth Rollins match that has opened SummerSlam has stole the show
mhm.
before the show even started. So if they want to emulate that without if so it's two things. It's either him and Finn open up that show, or it's Ricochet and Paul. I think it's gonna be Ricochet and Logan.
honestly, I could also see the women. You got Charlotte, Asuka,
Mm-hmm.
Bianca.
This is
That can
true.
also open.
They
Because
did it
then it
last
also
year.
throws the
Hmm.
roll the dice of is
Mm.
Io cashing in? Is she not? There's a
Oh
lot
my
of
gosh,
variables
that'll be
going
full
into that.
circle for her.
Oh my
Last
Yeah,
year
I was
god,
saying it'll
returning.
be full circle when she
yes!
debuted.
So cool.
Is it too early though?
No,
Like we get to
no,
see
I
it with
mean,
the
compared
briefcase.
to other reigns, no.
Hmm. Okay,
no.
yeah. I'm just
Compared
Because
to
want to see
that
if we've been.
briefcase hasn't
no.
lasted past 24 hours since Carmella. Like, no, it's not
Yeah.
Because
too
that's like
early.
Right,
saying, because that's like people would say that Bianca's too early. Hell no, absolutely
No, but
not.
just wondering, did y'all feel like, well, do y'all want to see her cook a little bit with it more? Do you want to see Oscar get cashed in or whoever?
I love the fact that I have zero prediction on the outcome of this because this can go any way. I can see a case where
right.
Bianca gets this belt off
That's what
Asuka.
makes it so good.
Charlotte is undefeated at SummerSlam. I can see that
Oh,
continuing, and she goes and gets
Hmm.
this title off Asuka. Asuka has the pedigree and regimen to be like, you know what, I can stand tall and beat the both of you because I've already done it before. And Asuka retains, and then Io can either cash in successfully and take this title off of anyone, or she could be the first person to unsuccessfully cash in, or she could just pump fake like I'm gonna do it because this is also a year anniversary of Io making her re-debut onto WWE.
yo, if EO
There's so
cashes
many
in
ways to go with
unsuccessfully,
this.
the internet's gonna go crazy.
That absolutely should
But at
not.
the same time, remember the women have batted 1,000.
I
At
wouldn't
some
be
point,
okay with
it's
that.
going to happen. We're gonna have an
But
unsuccessful
remember,
cash
so
in.
who's the first unsuccessful in W as far as the men? If I'm
Cena.
not bingo,
Yeah, Cena.
bingo. It was somebody who it didn't hurt at all. You feel me? Then when like Baron Corbin, it was like, well, he shouldn't have had it in the first place.
Hmm.
Damian
True that.
Sandow. Well, Sandow got caught up in the merger of the titles. I just think with EO, like I understand the women are going 1,000%. I just think with her, it'll be so much like, why would you do that? Even if she was to win the title, regardless, you know. I just think the first person has got to be somebody who's had the title already.
I have your answer. Why would they do that? because
Hmm.
you still have to factor Bailey, and they've been teasing Io and Bailey. Bailey has been trying to be like, this is our Money in the Bank briefcase, not Io's Money in the Bank briefcase. Bailey can always do something that costs Io the cash in and the title, and then you have the full on Io turns face, Bailey versus Io, especially when Dakota's gonna be out for a while, and that's how you can
See,
turn Io full face.
now you got a good story because then if you do it that way, then it leads you to you don't feel that EO won't never get it because you feel like she got to go through Bailey and cook a little bit, and then it'll lead to it, her eventually getting the title. So I mean, it's
Yeah, like
it's gonna be exciting.
the story won't be Io fucked up. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
Bailey cost her, and now Io has every reason to be pissed off at Bailey now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I
it's
could
But
see
good
I'm,
stuff.
that.
but yeah, that's why I'm saying like the women could also go on first because again, there's so many ways they can do that SmackDown Women's Title match.
I feel like we should do an unpopular
So exciting.
opinion SummerSlam edition.
Mm.
Ooh, I'm
Add that
with
to the
it.
list.
Yo,
I'm
I got
with
Cooking.
heat for
it.
SummerSlam
I'm
this week.
cooking. I've
So
been
should
chilling home. This is what
we
happens when you chill home after surgery. You just start cooking. I don't know what
should we do
happened.
that next week?
I feel like we
Yeah, let's
should.
do it.
That would be the
Let's
go
I'm
get
home
those
down.
to
exclusives
I'll put
going.
it
I'm
SmackDown.
out
down.
there. We'll get some tweets going. And then Justin did want to do a summer pay-per-view one.
Hmm.
So I think this will be
My favorite
good.
show of the year.
Yay. All right. So it's official. Unpopular opinion SummerSlam / SummerSlam Appreciation Night / we getting ready to be in
Yay!
Detroit / it's lit and
Yay!
fan club is fun. And we were going to
Sla-
talk about everything, honestly. Like the fun
slash
thing about
post
wrestling
Jobber
is so much.
Slam
Yes. That will be. Ooh, maybe
because
we'll
the
get
three of you will be
a
in attendance, so you can review it for me who won't be able to be in
that'd
attendance.
be dope. Maybe we'll have like Wilkins or Mr. Black or something on it. Do a little recap, a little something,
Just needs to do like a
something.
live stream. I feel like it's good live stream for
Jobber
you,
Slam,
Justin.
Hmm?
Not Jobber Slam or SummerSlam.
both.
I think I'm
Mhm.
gonna probably do a live stream on TikTok.
Mm.
Ooh, if you're not following Seindole on TikTok, you're really missing
So
out. I'm just
SummerSlam
If you're
I
not
can't
following
live
Sienna on
stream.
TikTok, you're boring.
SummerSlam I can't live stream because I'll be at the lake house, so I'll be
love that
jet
for
Mm.
Ew.
skiing, boating, try not to
When do
lose.
This
we
is
get to go to the lake house as a family?
because I definitely didn't get the invite.
this
That's
is
a
his
I bring the
whole way out.
groceries.
let me ask the best
I'll
friend
bring
because
myself.
that's the stepdad's lake house and whatnot. So I gotta talk to the best friend about that.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm excited. This is that time of the year where there's so much going on. Like I can't even think straight because the next 2 weeks are bananas. We have so much going on in the TWG universe. We got Janelle interview out. We have bonus content coming out this week. We have Krista B and Pablo the Don's new show exclusively on Patreon called Schoolin'. We got Hills content coming if you follow us on all social media platforms. That second season is premiering Friday night on Stars. We will be live tweeting. We will have content, so definitely watch it. You have time to binge the 8 episodes of the first season just in time for the second one. So come on, join the Hills family. We love it. Support the brand, buy some merch, buy a Jobber Slam ticket. If you are in
Oh
the
my
New
god,
York
wait, Iron
area,
Claw. I forgot about Iron Claw.
oh yeah, Iron Claw. That's a movie coming out about the Von Erich family. Zac Efron's in it.
Yeah, we on that.
He toned up for that.
There's
I can't
somebody
wait to
else
see
in it as
that.
well that I can't think of right now. But it's gonna be a really good movie, and it'll be one of those things where a wrestling story is being told in a mainstream film. So I couldn't be more excited. So we'll definitely be doing content on that. We'll also do a fan club specifically about
Oh
fictional movies
wow.
based on
Okay.
wrestling.
So just to wrap up the cast of Iron Claw, you have Jeremy Allen White from The Bear
Yes, that's who
playing
I was
Kieran
thinking
Von
of. He's
Erich.
buffing up
Zach is
too.
playing Kevin. Lily James is playing Pam. Harris Dixon. Wait, MJF is in this?
He's on TV
He's
right now.
Speaking of, did
Shout
you
out
say
to
MJF is on TV
MJF.
right
They
now?
got
Is he still
MJF as
champion?
Lance Von Erich. They got
Yeah.
Aaron Dean Essenberg as Ric Flair. They have Holt
Nice.
McCannon as Fritz Von
Ooh.
Erich. This cast is
This is huge. This
nice.
is a
They
big
have
moment for
Ryan
wrestling.
Nemeth as Gino Hernandez. They got
Mm.
Dolph Ziggler's brother as Gino Hernandez.
I
They
learned
got
about Gino in
Chavo
Dark Side of the
Guerrero.
Ring.
They got Chavo Guerrero playing the Sheik. This is gonna be a good ass movie.
I'm very excited for that. We'll definitely do a lot of content on that and a deep dive because it's exactly what we've been wanting to do. I think everyone sort of knows the Von Erich story. It's a tragedy, but it's one of those infamous wrestling, tales that everybody kind of knows. So seeing it on the big screen is going to be a big moment.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to just kind of continue just evolving and growing. And we will be here next Wednesday for hashtag TWG fan club. I know every week we have new people tuning in. TWG fan club is our weekly wrestling fan club where we get together, myself and my crew and all of our VIPs. And we just talk about different topics in wrestling. We did a WWE Network Appreciation Night last week. We mentioned the Dana Book Appreciation Night. We've done so many different little segments that exist in this wild world of wrestling that we love. So I love being able to do this with you guys every Wednesday on Twitch. We have so much going on. I'm gonna let everyone else that's on the stream, you guys, kind of like plug yourselves, but I do want to give another shout out to everyone that tuned in. Our VIPs: Stephanie Hardy, Rakarsha, Dylan, Andre, Corey with a K joining us, who I hope I see on Friday. I'm sure I'm missing people, but I love being able to do this with you guys. It means a lot. I'm excited to be in Detroit next week. I'm excited to be at Jobber Slam. It's just a really, really, really good time. But where can everyone find my crew?
You can find me on all social media platforms at It's Justin Rich. You can find me here Wednesday nights on Twitch, 7 to 9 p.m. for TWG Fan Club with myself and these three beautiful, intelligent, illustrious co-hosts of mine that know so much about wrestling TV shows that I need to catch up. I need to catch up. But eventually we're gonna catch up because we're also coming on the week of NXT's got a pay per view coming up this weekend. SummerSlam's coming up next weekend, so check the YouTube because we will be putting out our little reviews. Justin Rich Talks, where we'll be reviewing NXT, the Great American Bash, and reviewing WWE SummerSlam at some point. You can catch me from time to time on Tuesday nights, Twitter Spaces around 6:35 p.m. for Turnbuckle Talk with me and Corey, where we talk all things wrestling. You can catch me from time to time on True Hill Heat Sports and True Hill Heat Wrestling, both those channels located on YouTube. We talk sports, wrestling, and all that fun stuff. We here, we outside, we active. Go touch grass. Good time for wrestling. Salute to everyone else pulling up for Jabba Slam.
Woo! Y'all heard my brother. This is Brian H. Waters. You can find me on at Brian H. Waters on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Spill, and
Bro. Look, catch him on Twitch
we not
every
Oh,
Wednesday.
catch him on everything.
we not spilling, but
Hollywood Waters.
well, yeah, Wednesday Worldwide. Check me out there. Also this week, Mass Man Show. Me, Cal, Kerm, and David Shoemaker put together the ultimate SummerSlam card. And if one more person slides in my mentions about why Perfect versus Bret Hart or Perfect versus Owen wasn't in on the card, I will say we only had one choice, and you'll see the criteria, and you'll see why I didn't make it. But check me out on Wednesday Worldwide, where me and Cal got into a heated discussion about Adam Cole. So that was very entertaining. And last but not least, tonight, Wednesday Worldwide. Make sure. I'm tired. The Wrestling Realm
You can
now
tell.
podcast. We continue this road to SummerSlam. But look, make sure y'all here each and every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Get your drinks, get your music. Well, we got the music. We right here everywhere. I did not call him Fandango. Okay, can I address this real quick?
Go ahead.
What I said was, I'm trying to figure out why everybody loves LA Knight so much. I don't get it. Like outside of the what else is there? Because like Stephanie and Triple H said in 2013, Seindole, remember, they was like, yeah, y'all want to push, y'all want us to push Daniel Bryan, but remember, y'all wanted us to push Fandango, and look where that got you. So that's what I'm saying with LA Knight. Show me.
Come
I
on
just want
now.
people to tell me.
Y'all can't act like Wait, Brian, pause. You can't act like them not letting Fandango go further than it was not with in-depth personal decision. Like Vince McMahon had an idea, and then the people next to him shut it down. That's what happened with Fandango, and they thought it was gonna go far with them putting him with Tyler Breeze and making them the Fashion Police, which was genius, by the way. And the
Mhm.
fans didn't catch on to it, so it is not Fandango's fault that
My
didn't
No,
go
fans
theory
far.
is
caught on
I'm
to
always
just
it.
saying.
it's always this: when you leave and you still like Matt Cardona, perfect example. He's the reason why I'm about to say what I'm about to say. If they held you back so much, when you leave, go prove it. Matt Cardona, boom.
But he's there now. He's an Impact, isn't he?
Oh,
Isn't
Johnny.
Fandango? Yeah.
The fact that you just asked where is he or is he an Impact says a lot. You don't have to ask that question about Matt Cardona. He said,
Right.
"Okay, the machine didn't push me. I'm gonna go out here and show you something." And now, huge star. To the
Look
point
what
when
it
we was in Philly, we seen him. He had that star presence. It wasn't too many people in the building. He would have more of a star presence to me personally than Bully Ray did.
look what it
Shout
did
out
for
to
Drew
him wearing his wife's
McIntyre.
belt
Drew
at a different
McIntyre wasn't
promotion.
in WWE.
Facts.
Drew McIntyre leaves WWE, goes on the
Mhm.
Indies, figures himself out, comes back, goes to NXT, eventually comes back to the main roster, a completely different man.
But it doesn't work for everybody because look at what happened with
Dirty
EC3. That
Dango.
man done left. That man done left twice, and they still
Oh, I thought it
fudged
was
him up.
Dusty Dango, but
So
okay.
Yo, I can't wait to talk
anyway,
to Corey with a K Saturday. We're gonna talk about this, bro.
anyway, oh my god, I can't with y'all. Y'all be
Anyways, I
It's
co-sign Brian's
Seindole.
take because I've been also saying this on Twitter. Like, what has LA Knight done besides get over? Yeah, like, yeah, he's the
They
hot
can
flavor of the week
somebody
now,
just be
but
over based on their chemistry with the crowd? He has chemistry with the crowd. Why y'all not acting like that accounts for something?
no, I'm
Hello,
giving
like
him his
I said,
I'm giving his props for that. But here's the thing: people wanted him to be Mr. Money in the Bank. And I was like, for what? You want
and
him to jump the line, and all of a sudden you want him to be top champion because he's over like
oh my
Rover? Like,
god.
has he ever been U.S.
You've
champion?
had
Has
old
he
champions
ever been
before. It's not
IC
even new.
champion?
Shut up. You've had an old champion before. Please. We've had plenty of old champions before. What does that mean? John Cena with a bald head, near patch and bald, was
I'm
champion
just
for the
saying.
16th time. What does that even mean?
I'm just saying. Okay, he's over like crazy. You know who else was over like crazy? Rusev Day. Where did that end up?
Bingo. Talk
Too
about it.
soon.
That
Always
again,
too
not
soon
his
for that.
fault. Again, not his fault is booking. Pick up the goddamn mic. We need to stop acting like there's no control in the background for when people have their hot moments or when people flavor. It's like an ice cream flavor. Like you could be obsessed with Rocky Road and then you see somebody chumming down on some like graham cracker and cream ice cream and you want that next. You don't want no Rocky Road. It's not their fault. Just like everybody loves Bray Wyatt, but what are they doing with Bray Wyatt now? Where does that lead it now? It's not all their
Also too
control.
soon.
Exactly. It's not. It's out of their control. It's out of their control. I'm sorry. If somebody's
Siendo,
pushing me to be hot, and I go out there and I'm hot, and then all of a sudden I get back there and they're like, okay, well now we don't think it's hot, so we'll pull it back a little bit. You think that's in my control?
all we're saying is that we're preaching a little patience, which is one thing wrestling Twitter does not fucking have.
Well, because this internet wrestling community, the internet wrestling community having patience is like literally having Kanye having sense. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Anyway,
I
back to my
love that.
outro.
I thought you were gonna say like have like a Kardashian having a stable relationship, but I'll
Thank
also
you.
take
Just
that.
like that. Like expecting the internet wrestling community to have senses like that. It's not going to happen ever. Anyway, but back to me. Per usual, it's your honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. You can catch me on Twitter at Reload via Film, where me and Justin will continue this discussion on there because clearly there's a lot to be had. You too, Brian. You're not out of this. You can also catch me on Instagram at reload.relive. You can hit me up on YouTube. Follow me around July will be coming up. It will not include SummerSlam because y'all will have to wait for the August review, but I will be taking you all around everything that I did. I did a boat ride on 4th of July. I did horseback riding the week after that. I went to a birthday party / anniversary party for the oldest couple in my church after that. I went to an AEW show after that, the Hosley Block party, and of course, BlurCon. And just to let you know, I will be backstage at the GTP Media Lounge this
Ooh.
weekend at Jobber Slam.
Yeah.
Might be doing some stuff with the One Minority. Might be getting in some wrestlers' heads. We never know what's gonna happen. But if you don't follow me on TikTok, you'll never know what's really happening. So shout out to Jabba's Tears podcast for giving me that opportunity. I know a lot of my mutuals will be in the building for that. So shout out to everybody who's coming through. Like I said, it's one big fan reunion to me. I cannot wait. Also, don't be afraid to hit the link in all my social medias where my Amazon store is fully running. So all of you out there who we talk about making sure that you're on your high box and that you shower and that you wear fancy things and deodorant, all that's linked to my Amazon store. It's all some wrestling shirts that I've worn in the past. I'm very proud to talk about that. I actually put up all the wrestling shirts that I got from Amazon on my Amazon store. So if you're looking for something to give your girlfriend, definitely get those shirts. Like my brother said, we here, we outside. Support the actors and the writers that are on strike.
That part.
And also happy Liberian Independence Day to all my people. I love you. It's been my
Liberian
26 is on
girl.
you. We are free. We are here. We are my people. We doing all right. And that's all I got.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm very excited for Saturday. I'm about to be in that lounge with you, girl.
Yes,
Like
girl, come through. What are you doing?
yeah.
In there, like
Saturday's gonna be a
somewhere.
movie. Next Saturday's gonna be a movie. We here for it all. Thank you for everyone for joining us for this edition, this Heels Wrestling TV show edition of hashtag TWG Fan Club. We will be back next week with unpopular SummerSlam opinions. So I'm gonna tweet that ASAP, post it on Instagram so we can get some people's wild takes. Cause what is this, like the 30 something SummerSlam or something like that?
Something like that. They don't
Something
count
like
the
that, yeah.
numbers.
Right,
That
but
battle's
it's been
always
around. It's been around. It's the hottest party of the summer. It's been the hottest party of the summer. So we are going to be talking all about that, all of our favorite matches, all of our non-favorite matches, and all of that. Check out those wrestling girls everywhere on social media. Subscribe to our Patreon. Sending love to Krista B, who is in Jamaica right now. And I'm excited for everything. I know I say it all the time, but we are truly blessed to have this family and community that we have in this crazy world of wrestling. So hopefully I will see a lot of you on Saturday. And I think we're out.
We're out.
Shaba.
Love y'all. Thank you
We'll
for
be
coming
live
to
tweeting.
the club.